Though it's only the first stop of the 2011 PDGA National Tour Elite Series, play at this year's Memorial Championship finds many in mid-season form. Paul McBeth had his foot on the accelerator since day one as he sped to an early lead at Wednesday's round at Vista. And while many were waiting for him to somewhat falter his position, it just never materialized. This forced the balance of this historically studded field to bear down on the talented McBeth in hopes of reclaiming some of the ground that separates them at this point. And step it up they did. Both Nathan Doss and Nikko Locastro guarded 1083 rated rounds during their Friday foray on the tricky Vista del Camino circuit, while three-time Memorial champion Barry Schultz recaptured some of his dominant form of the past to move into solo third. While McBeth, Doss, Schultz, and Locastro may claim the leader card for their own, the threesome of Anthon, Ulibarri, and Climo are still hot on the trail, setting the stage for a spectacular finish here in the Valley of the Sun. Welcome to beautiful Fountain Hills, Arizona for live coverage of the 2011 Memorial Disc Golf Championships, presented by Discraft. And now, on behalf of DiscGolfPlanet.tv, we invite you to enjoy a front row seat to this year's live broadcast of the 2011 Memorial Championship. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our DiscGolfCenter.com Lakeside Studios here as we bring you live coverage of the 2011 Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. I'm Crazy John Brooks, and those of you at home watching the live action, we had a very rare but integral occurrence here, and as we experienced a brief solar flare during the live coverage of hole 18, where you left last was Liz Lopez making her putt. Those of you at home have an exciting surprise coming. Not to worry though, coverage is all archived for the Disc Golf Planet TV site, so you'll be able to have access to all of that action. Right now we're going to take you to the disc golf guy, Terry Miller, who has with him our newly crowned women's champion of the Memorial after a dramatic sequence of events. We join you live now with Terry Miller and Paige Pierce. Terry? All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have just a couple of minor issues to take care of, but we appreciate you joining us live. Once again, Dave, we watched the action unfold on 18. The folks at home have nothing to worry about as the action, although you might not have seen it due to the momentary solar flare, it is archived in the Disc Golf Planet site, so you'll have access to replay, no problem. If there's any questions, just you'll find technical support, but I don't believe it'll be necessary. Once again, just a brief interruption of our signal as we see the action here on 18. These are the pro men making their way up on the fairway. Once again, in just a moment, we'll have Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, with our newly crowned women's champion, Paige Pierce. An exciting sequence of events here this afternoon. You're watching the pro men field. Looks to be in hole number one, a drive left way out to the right. Actually, Terry, excuse me, this could be, yeah, this is number one. And it's a little kicker on the curb, saves you. There's Doc the spotter, a very well-known person there on number one, as we've seen a lot of victims end up in the water. But nonetheless, be able to get their disc back because Doc's got the scepter. Thanks again to another of our vending sponsors, WorldSports.com. W-H-I-R-L-D, that's WorldSports.com, makers of the scepter, the scabbard, and the next tee indicator.
Here you see Philo Brathwaite, another California native. Pretty sure Philo is just going to lay this right up there and take his par and go on to number two, which is our only par four on the course. Here you have Carlo Pelg getting ready to probably do the same thing. Carlo's looking a little bit more like he's trying to go for it, but I think he'll probably lay this up. Ooh, that was one of those almost go for it's almost in the water.
It's an awfully tempting putt, you'll have to agree. conditions here having settled a little bit. The temperatures have been in the low 80s, much to the liking of our players and staff, but the wind has been the case all week. Stronger than normal. We just had a flat jet stream earlier, just 2 weeks prior, and then the big dip brought snow into the mountains here in the eastern upper Phoenix Valley. We're here at the discgolfcenter.com studios. Crazy John and Dave Greenwell hosting the action for you today. Right now, to continue our coverage, we're going to go live to Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, with newly crowned women's champion Paige Pierce. What do you got, Terry?
Joining me in the dynamic disc winner circle is our women's champion, Paige Pierce. Paige, how does it feel?
It feels amazing. I can't even put it in words right now. I'm so happy.
Earlier in the week when I caught up with you, you said you really wanted it. What did you do to go out and get it today?
Today, I played safe. There's a lot of water out here. I knew eventually one of us was going to mess up. Fortunately, I did have some mess ups, but so did Val. It was a battle the whole way until hole 18. She's amazing, and I'm honored to beat her. Like, I don't know.
Val is, I'm sure, in a sense, been an idol, winning multiple world championships. You're aspiring to be the player that she is, and you're doing that in your own right. Walk us through hole 18, exactly how it finished off.
Okay. We were tied pretty much going into the hole with the trees on the left that they just planted, hole 10 or so. Then I went out of bounds right. I tried to go for it and yanked it right, went OB. So we were tied, or she was beating me by one. And then four holes later, I birdied, then I messed up. And then hole 18, we were tied going into it. She threw a drive. I threw about 75 feet further than her. She threw her upshot a little short, left herself about a 45-foot putt, and I threw mine 10 feet past the basket. She laid up her 45-footer, forcing me to hit the most nerve-wracking putt of my life.
Well, the most nerve-wracking putt of her life, only 10 feet. She puts it in for the win, which is what matters. She is our 2011 Open Women's Memorial Champion. Again, congratulations, Paige Pierce.
Thank you, Terry.
Back to you, Crazy.
Thanks, Terry. The disc golf guy sharing an interview with Paige Pierce, our newly crowned women's champion. She's proud of herself right now. I know her parents back in Texas are probably screaming. An exciting sequence of events. Here is our women's champion is crowned. We go back to the action on number 1.
Looks like Big Germ, Jeremy Coling. Throwing a very safe shot there, and who can blame him? The wind has gotten back up again. It's blowing right back in their face, which is making this whole play a little bit longer than it is. It's 390 anyway, so it's probably playing about 430 right now.
Very exciting to see our players introduced to the tee and a wonderful gallery assembling. Many of the members of the amateur field have the ability to come out and watch the pros and maybe redesign and get some hints. They're competing for $50,000 in prize money.
Arizona resident Jesse Au.
Nice shape. At this point, players wanting to just minimize the needs for their second shot by a well-placed drive.
Next up, Michigan native Michael Henry.
Of course, Michael getting some attention last year's Memorial with a great round. And that signature low release, that's got to skip, and it doesn't make it.
Looks like Michael had some quick feet on that one. Here we have Minnesota native Cale LaVisca, who, by the way, his uncle, from what I understand, is Paul Molitor, the famous baseball player.
Oh, really?
Little interesting tidbit there. He's passed on some pretty good genes. Cale is an outstanding player.
Been on the tour for years, a great friend and fellow to many of the members of the tour. Here's the tee shot.
Big power. He's looking like he's going for the pin on this one. Great shot from Cale LaVisca, one of the best shots we've seen all day. But that was our 6th group there. So from now till the first group gets there, we're going to be seeing some outstanding golfers throwing some outstanding shots, and boy, I'm starting to get excited, Craze. How about you?
It's great being a part of this pioneering effort brought to you by discgolfplanet.tv, bringing you the best in disc golf. We join the action on 18, players leaving a lot of strokes behind on this one. And we just saw the events, of course, that you will see very shortly with transpiring in our women's division. The fairway still hot from the action as Paige Pierce marks the first NT Major victory of her scorecard this year.
Yeah, what a turn of events. Paige tried to give it back to Valerie on hole 17 with a uncharacteristically bad upshot, and then the very next hole, Val did the same thing. So, you know, I guess what comes around goes around, but the ladies enjoyed a big hug there at the end, and the sportsmanship was really nice to see. Seeing some of our winners flash across the bottom there. Hole 18 from about 35 feet below the basket.
It's the fifth attempt. Yeah, taking another shot from the edge after that unfortunate roll out of bounds. Well, the sunny and breezy Fountain Hills is the center stage for this year's Memorial. Here's Michael on number 1. And he'll have that left for bogey.
Here we have North Carolina native Jeremy Colling. They call him Big Germ.
Well-designed
Nice
approach.
It's right where you want to be. Had no chance of going in the water, hit nice and flat. I'm sure Big Germ will be happy about that one.
You know, Dave, I'm surprised we've seen so many go in the water. There's more than abundant space to the right to throw safe. I mean, I would rather have a shorter, difficult approach shot than a long, risky drive, you know, so to speak, for the crowd.
You're thinking like a pro there, Craze. You know, when these guys get up there on the tee, it's 390 feet, and every one of these guys can throw that far.
Right.
But when the wind gets in the face, it changes a little bit. You know, maybe yesterday they threw that same shot and there was no wind and they parked it. But with that extra wind in the face, it's just a little bit tougher. Besides that, you have the gallery standing around. They just announced your name, so there's a whole different dimension to it today.
You saw Jesse Au lay up, and here's for birdie.
Kalaviska with a drop in too, and boy, I tell you what, that's a good way to get your round started on the final day.
Sure is.
Mike Henry tapping in there for a bogey. There you go. The wind kind of calmed down again, so it's going to be up and down all day, it looks like. See Jesse Au tapping out there for his par, which, you know, a par on most of these holes is a pretty good score. Although there's only one par 4, there's a bunch of tough par 3s out here.
Yeah, hole number 2, a lot of players are allowing to complete their tees in the group in front of them so they can have the action down to a minimum on the first green. Once again, we're joining you live from our discgolfcenter.com studios. We want to give a shout out to our Disc Golf Planet founding partners, one of which is Innova Disc Golf, the Innova Champion disc family on the east and west coasts of America, proud to bring you the cutting edge in disc golf and playful surprises from them and accessories. Innova Disc Golf has been innovating for years and producing champions for decades. Now we go back to the action on 1.
Yeah, this group is comprised of Stevie Rico, Dave Feldberg, Paul Oman, and Double G Garrett Gerthy. This is a place Dave Feldberg's not accustomed to being. I mean, he's almost always in the hunt. He has definitely been the best player here for the last 5 years. Dave's been suffering with a little bit of Asian flu that he picked up on a recent tournament in Taiwan. Hopefully Dave will recover here pretty soon and put on a show for us today.
No one wants to perform for you more than Dave Feldberg. I'll tell you, Steve Rico, another familiar face from the Southern California region, producing many a victory from the Steve and Bamba factory of days of recent. We hope Steve and the entire Rico family is doing well. You're looking at sunny, breezy Fountain Hills, Arizona. This is the theater today for our championship Saturday for our pros, competing in over $50,000 of prizes. And those of you at home, too, as you donate, become a supporter to the discgolfplanet.tv broadcast. Just click on that Discraft Chain Star to the right of your viewing screen. And not only will you become part of the lifeblood of our project here at Disc Golf Planet, but you'll become eligible for prizes to be given away during the broadcast. So stay tuned. We have many more surprises as the day goes on. You look at the action on tee number 1. Steve Rico claiming his territory for now, and the gallery awaits.
Stevie Rico rarely out of the top 10 of any event he plays in, including the World Championships.
Oh, wow. That was another small miracle. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of centimeters dividing that disc from the out of bounds, and Rico's got to be happy with that.
Stevie
There's
Rico from Sylmar, California. And Dave Fehlberg, you see him rushing just a little bit. That noise you hear in the background is the fountain getting ready to go off.
Just a few seconds till that wind hits.
Dave
taking advantage of that wide layout space.
Dave kind of rushed that a little bit. He heard the fountain, he knew the wind was coming, and he just threw it just a little bit safe there. Now you have Paul Oman, Evansville, Indiana resident, nicknamed 1040, hoping to get to that place someday in his player rating. Paul Oman.
Well done.
Oh, with a safe shot. You can bet you this shot's going toward the basket. Here we have Double G, Garrett Gerthy from Gainesville, Florida. One of the best natural power distance throwers on the golf course we've ever seen. Garrett Gerthy.
And there's evidence to this created wind, that surprise effect, if you will, to the players. Once that fountain kicks on, Dave, it brings with it basically an 8 to 10 mile an hour breeze.
That is really too bad for Garrett. I mean, Garrett's been playing for 18 years and he's only 21 years old. One of the nicest people you ever want to meet. Great sportsman.
Here's the re-tee. Oh, real friendly result there for Double G. Well, he'll start off with a bogey, but nonetheless, he's underway. This is Championship Saturday. You see the fountain displayed behind us. This is the signature element to Fountain Park here. This is the 31st year of the Fountain Hills Disc Golf Course in this beautiful city. This is the action on 18. And another great putt to complete the round. This has become somewhat of a nemesis to some, as we saw Valerie Jenkins become victim to its conditions. And making way for Paige Pierce, one of the younger superstars of the tour these days. Paige Pierce securing her first NT victory of the year as the Women's Memorial Champion. This is live coverage of the Discraft Memorial, the 2011 version, the 23rd anniversary. We're here live at our discgolfcenter.com studios. I'm Crazy John Brooks, your host, and hope you're enjoying your Saturday with us. Those of you logging on to discgolfplanet.tv from around the world are becoming part of the lifeblood that'll help us bring disc golf to the world. That's what discgolfplanet.tv is all about. Right now, once again, we guide you through the website. If you look to the right of the viewing screen, you'll see the two different banners, one for the PDGA and one for the Win the Discraft Chain Star. Just click on those banners and click on the Discraft Chain Star, make your donation, which we very much appreciate, and then you'll become eligible for prizes to be given away during the broadcast. Dave, we've got a plethora provided by our founding and our vending sponsors for our viewers. We look at a beautiful angle of number 1, the green in all of its glory. Once again, 90% water for the fairway on number 1. Players encouraged to target par on this one. even with today's conditions on a championship Saturday.
There you see Paul Oman, Evansville, Indiana.
No easy shot by any means.
Setting up for a nice layup, good shot. You don't see as much wind in that corner, but you can see the big ripples coming across there. I mean, we're almost to the point where we're about to need a slicker here behind us because feel a little bit of mist coming here at us from the fountain.
A couple places on the course you can get soaked, folks. It's truly an element here to be considered. Here's Steve Rico lining up.
Yeah, you can see the big waves in the background. It's not just little ripples. It can make some whitecaps.
Those of you at home saw Rico's drive hit, skip, and roll up and onto the curb of the OB of the lake and rest back in bounds. A great start for Rico. We've seen Steve in some of the greatest showdowns in disc golf in his lengthy career. Here's Rico on one for birdie. And just off right.
Steve was one of our early child stars. Steve has been playing for over 20 years and he's not that old. But he was right out of the carriage. Brother Bamba throwing a disc at him probably while he was in the carriage, and Dad JR handed him both discs. So
definitely a legacy in disc golf.
Disc golf tradition in the Rico family. Here we have Double G putting for bogey. Shoo, little skip off of the rim. Thank you very much for Double G.
Might want to add an inch of elevation to that one, G. There's Billberg for a drop-in par.
And I'm sure that bogey element of that putt had a little bit to do with skipping that one off of the rim, but he's got it over with and heading to hole 2 where he can show some of that big power that he's got on the only par 4 on the course.
Dave, it's exciting to watch our viewers be included in all of the hoopla here. It's a chance to recognize one of our contributors. Once again, once you become a supporter of the broadcast by donating, you also become eligible for many prizes we have available from our sponsors. Right now, we'd like to give our next presentation of the Fade Gear Disc Golf Bag, provided by DiscGolfCenter.com, and our winner is, David?
Michael Brignoni.
Oh, Brignoni pulls something down while he's sitting at home. I want to congratulate you and thank you, Michael, for donating, and you too, ladies and gentlemen. Get in there, make a donation. We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts, and also know that you're going to help bring disc golf to the world through discgolfplanet.tv, your portal bringing you the best in disc golf. Here's the action on 18.
You can see the fountain was turned off because of the high wind. It's set to shut off at 10. They said they were altering that to 8 miles an hour for us, so all the equipment didn't get wet. I'm sure the players are glad that it's down because it takes away a lot of wind, actually. Good shot there. Nice approach. Here we have our fourth group, which consists of Greg Barsby, Avery Jenkins, Ricky Wysocki, and Devin Owens. Like first on the tee is going to be Greg Barsby, who is one of the more colorful players on tour.
Animated, if you will.
From Northern California. It looks like he's got his Blues Brothers outfit on today.
Wow, I feel good.
Greg, who's been known to do some personal imitations for both fun and profit, we think.
I've heard about his champ interview, Dave. Yeah, it's a little dangerous. I like to see him do it in the same room.
It's hilarious.
And here we are with a 70s Redux.
Greg, who is proficient with both a backhand and a sidearm. Multiple skill level guy. Look at him.
Disrobing.
Oh boy, he is
Shapes.
some kind of character.
Jacket, disc, will golf.
Greg Barsby, ladies and gentlemen, on the tee.
Staff photographer Lauren in the heat of things.
Greg with a very safe play there. That's pretty much all he wanted. He's got the grin on. Next up, Avery Jenkins. Avery, one of the sibling world champion combo. Avery and Val, the only siblings to ever win the world title.
Shout out to Mom and Pop Jenkins.
Avery taking no chance of going OB there. And I think this is one of his mentors. If he wasn't one of his mentors, Avery is this young man's idol, Ricky Wysocki from Medina, Ohio.
Great they could be playing together in a major. It's must be exciting to watch your, to have your students in front of you.
Ricky has got a cannon. Looks like Ricky's having none of this laying up stuff. Oh my, too bad there. Still have a chance to save par there. Have another young rising star here, Devin Owens. Devin from Oklahoma. I know Devin is one of the few top players that actually has a job. Works at a sushi restaurant.
He's got a job.
Devin Owens.
David. Oh, he takes the direct route.
He's lefty. Hit the hole! Get on up there for Devin. Oh! Very nice safe shot, but a run at it nonetheless. Devin Owens.
You're watching the professional men here take on to the Fountain Hills Gold layout. Just completing hole 1 here. Our group will make their way to the green. We're talking to you from the luxurious Lakeside Studios, presented by DiscGolfCenter.com. I'm Crazy John Brooks, your host for this weekend's action. This is Championship Saturday. I'm joined by my co-host, disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer, Dave Greenwell. Dave, it's good to have you with us. I know we have the entire Disc Golf Planet team here. We've got the Disc Golf Guy, Terry Miller, bringing you interviews with our champions, as well as the lovely Rebecca Duffy in the field to bring you the inside scoop on the fairways and greens. Right now, if you will, we'd like you to notice our graphic with DiscNation.com, providing you a 15% discount at DiscNation.com. Once you get onto the website, enter the coupon code MEMORIAL and receive your 15% off discount, all orders placed up to midnight Monday Central Standard Time. Once again, thank you for supporting our broadcast, and thanks to DiscNation.com.
One nation under par.
Yes! Oh, it's great to have you here, folks, from around the world. Here we are in the action on the 18th tee here at the Fountain Hills Gold Course.
And the wind is up and down. Oh my, he tried to play that one safe, but it was too safe, and as a result is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's a beautiful park here. The lake is the centerpiece here. Of course, the fountain being the only permanent resident here in the park. And we have almost 100 trees, too, that were added, much to the surprise of some of the players returning for last year's Memorial. This all done in an effort to beautify the park. You also notice the wonderful amphitheater in the northeast corner. This will be the center stage for this afternoon's Memorial Experience, brought to you by K-Love. I would like to thank Jeff Harris, the event promoter and organizer, for his efforts in breaching the distance between the public and the game of disc golf. This is live coverage. You're watching the first tee here on Championship Saturday. So the players here, before they putt on number 1, will allow the other group to finish their tees on number 2, avoiding any potential distractions. Of course, number 2, Dave, the longest hole on the course this week. Long enough to at least make a change in the par.
Yes, it's a 700-foot hole. You have to play in between those trees is the best shot to set your first shot up. Most of these, now it looks like Double G's going all the way around it. He's one of the few players that really can do that and still come back in bounds. Looks like he has safely done that.
You know, some players choosing that wide route, they might have to sacrifice a little distance, because once again, these top cards are going to avoid the water altogether. I think when we do see one go in, it's going to be off definitely a personal error.
There you have Avery Jenkins for a little layup shot there. Nicely done. Avery actually has the unofficial distance record that he threw 840 feet that went from California over to the Nevada state line.
Lance, what are you thinking, Avery? I better put a GPS plate on that thing.
Of course, the official record still belongs to Christian Sandstrom. Here we have Greg Barsby, one of the New Age Blues brothers from NorCal.
Barsby goes for it.
Greg Barsby showing off that Blues Brother image and just canned about a 45-footer with nothing but lake behind it.
That's Barsby-esque.
What a great way to start the final day. Now you have Devin Owens. Devin, I guarantee, is going for this one as well. The lake's behind it, but he's from about 38 feet. Oh my, just hit the front of the cage.
Just short.
Nice
Something to think about. These players might take that memory into their next few holes. That can do some damage sometime. Your first putt is very important in shaping the level of aggression in your game, even for 18 holes.
Here we have Ricky Wysocki getting ready to try to save par on this one. His shot skipped into the water, but he got his meter relief there from where it went out, and this is for par. Nice save there by Ricky Wysocki.
For par.
Boy, if you throw it in the water, there's nothing better than par, Crazy.
You know, this curb, there's only a couple inches. You might see a couple of occasions where the curb is higher than maybe a couple inches. That's the only chance of staying in bounds, and it literally does require a miracle to hit at such an exact point. But as you see Avery Jenkins tap in, this is, of course, evident to the trouble on number one. But players, the higher card you go, you're going to find a lot, even more wise decisions being made and aggressive disc golf being played here this afternoon as our pros go for $50,000 in prize money. As we mentioned, those of you that have become supporters, we thank you so much from around the globe. And we take you to Jeff Bennett on hole number one.
As we get ever closer to our number one lead group, this is our third group. Jeff Bennett, Patrick Blazik, Richard Thompson, and UC Maresma.
I think we've got just a moment. Why don't we give away some more prizes, Dave? We want to take just a moment and reach out to you folks, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. Thanks for donating. Right now, we have the prizes for you. Our winner of the Dynamic Discs VIP package, which I have here in my hands,
is W. Heath Whitley.
Dynamic Disc hat, Dynamic Disc red, very nice nylon shirt, and of course, the Buzz. Excuse me, the drone from Discraft is your prizes. Congratulations, W. Heath Whitley. You're our next winner on Disc Golf Planet's vendor-sponsored giveaways. Thank you.
Here you have Jeff Bennett, recent transplant to Charlotte, North Carolina, Michigan native. Jeff Bennett. Jeff with a nice safe shot there, nicely done. Yeah, these guys this is no joke. You can see the wind closer to the tee. You know, it's not as evident around the basket because it's getting a little bit of block from that wall, but there's definitely more wind there.
There's a gallery factor too, David, as we see the enormous gallery assembling here, even 5 cars away from our leader card, some of our amateur contingency out here to watch the professionals and see what they can learn.
Here you have Patrick Blazik, recent Colorado native. Or should I say Colorado resident. I don't think he's a native of Colorado. But Patrick was in our leader group after the first round.
A lot of great performances so far this week, ladies and gentlemen. This is our live camera shot from the first tee here at Fountain Hills. Rich Thompson checking out the conditions.
California boy, lefty. So he's probably going to take the same approach as Devin Owens. He's got quite a crush on him. Is it high enough? Yes, it is. Shot there by Rich Thompson.
One of the most accurate shots we've seen all week,
Wow.
folks. A mere 8 feet away from the pin. Great shot.
Rich is one of 2 players in this group that is rated below 1,000, and the only 2 that are in the top 3 groups. Now you have President's Cup founder, UC Maresma. Oh my, just short of the wall.
Close. Jussi, the Uber promoter from Scandinavia.
Jussi, a great disc golfer and a great sport. He can't believe he just barely missed that shot. I've been lucky enough to have breakfast with Jussi for the last 3 days in a row and had some great conversation with him about all of his disc line, and just recently created a little movie and getting ready for the President's Cup back in Finland this year. So
proud to introduce the Sea Lion.
Great pioneer of our sport.
True gentleman and an ambassador, and once again founders, as Dave mentioned, of the President's Cup, recently performed in the USDGC field. Ladies and gentlemen at home, we thank our Disc Golf Planet partner sponsors, Philadelphia Insurance Companies, America's #1 underwriter in niche sports. Those of you at home have disc golf clubs or an event or an association that you'd like to develop coverage for, the Philadelphia Insurance Companies can design a cost-effective solution for you. Thank you. Philadelphia Insurance Companies. And by the PDGA, the Professional Disc Golf Association in Appling, Georgia, home of the International Disc Golf Center. We'd like to thank Brian Graham, Executive Director, for visiting us here this week. And also all of you at home, we challenge you to become a member. Just go to your Disc Golf Planet viewer screen, look to the right, and click on the PDGA plate and become a member today, securing your number that you'll have for the rest of time. And by Innova Disc Golf, out of the west and east coasts of America. Without their support, the game wouldn't be at their level that they are right now. Innova Disc Golf, producing champions for decades. Thank you for our partner sponsors of the Disc Golf Planet family. Welcome back live to our DiscGolfCenter.com studios. You're watching coverage of the 2011 Memorial Championships. This is the first NT of the year, and ladies and gentlemen, the action is hot here as we approach our men's leader card. You're watching the action on hole number 1.
Nice upshot there. Here we have Patrick Blazik. Don't look for this to get very high off the ground, Craze. He's probably just going to slide this up there with very little spin. That's all you want to do right there. There's no sense in being a hero on the first hole.
You know, Dave, you mentioned just 2 days ago as we watched players playing on hole number 1. The pros, as you mentioned, were using that tree that you saw just next to the shot, actually using that as a reference point, and some of them actually hit it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad with hitting a tree, especially if you're using it to your advantage to design your strategy, your course management. There's a number of tips that you can use to simplify the game and accelerate your performance and proficiency. Here's Jussi Mrezma on 1, putting for 3. And that was low just off the release here. He's not going to be happy with that. Mrezma taking bogey on 1. You look at our gallery and also our camera positions. Ladies and gentlemen, our super team is here in full force for Disc Golf Planet, bringing you this live coverage.
Rich Thompson with one of the best drives that we've seen all day. Cashing in on that nicely. Here we have Jeff Bennett getting ready to tap in for his 3. Nicely done.
Yeah, we'd like to give a shout out to Dan and Sue Ginnerly, as well as Keith Murray. These are the operators of Spinners on the Green, one of our local supporters here for every memorial, as well as a staple factor in Phoenix Disc Golf, located at Miller and McDowell in Scottsdale. Spinners on the Green, your superstore in the Phoenix area. Right next to the Vista course. There's Mrezma for 4.
Patrick Blazik tapping out. Heading over to hole 2. Looks like we have a little bit of a backup there on hole 2. But we're getting ready for our second group.
Here we look in on 18. And the banners, once again, a great indicator to the steady breeze here in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range with gusts of 20. We've been lingering into the low 80s here at temperatures, ideal conditions. Players from 7 nations and 33 states come here to join in on the action at the 2011 Memorial. Presented by Discraft, #1 choice in disc golf. We invite you to stay tuned. Tell your friends about the broadcast. Become a supporter. We appreciate you as the lifeblood of Disc Golf Planet and our disc golf family. Thanks to everyone at home for joining us. Once again, our mission here is to bring you live coverage. We have a number of field reporters. Terry Miller and Rebecca Duffy will both be inside and getting the scoop from our players. And later in the afternoon, as we crown champions, you'll be joining them at the Dynamic Discs Winner's Circle interview platform and we hope you'll enjoy this. We'll be back to the action on number 1 with a beautiful gallery, Dave. Always an exciting element to professional disc golf.
We're getting ready for our second group here on hole number 1, which consists of Josh Anthon, Paul Ulibarri, Ken Climo, and Eric McCabe. Wow, what a group that is. First on the tee here is going to be Josh Anthon from Rio Linda, California. Josh is the current record holder for this course. I think last year he shot 41. Josh is 4 strokes out of the lead. Josh Anthon. Wow, that is the best drive we've seen all day, and boy, that is not something the competition wants to see.
Incredible.
Josh Anthon get off to a start like that, it could be trouble.
Oh,
now we have the local hero, Arizona native, Paul Ulibarri. Another great shot. These guys are good. These guys are good. Here we go. Best player of all time. Shot the best round the first time that these guys played here this week. Shot with a 44. Here you go, Ken Climo. They don't call him the champ for nothing.
You're watching Poetry in Motion, folks. This is the
last to tee here.
Men's second card.
Our
Runner-up lead card.
Current world champion. One of the best putters I've ever seen. Eric McCabe.
Coming out of southeastern Kansas. Eric, as we mentioned, bit of a calf injury. Here's the drive. And well placed at that. All these folks will have a chance at their second shots. Right now, folks, as we mentioned, once you become a donator to the show, we'd like to bring you in on we'll give away some more of our prizes. And right now, the winner of 2 Z-Buzz SS's, thanks to Discraft, is Kevin Coward. Congratulations to Kevin Coward for becoming a supporter of the broadcast. And also from DiscGolfPlanet.tv, a VI package goes out to Jack Hicks. Jack, thanks for your donation. We hope you enjoy your VIP package from the DiscGolfPlanet.tv crew. And also, winner of a DiscNation.com $25 gift certificate. Congratulations to David. You can do the honor.
Aaron Kirsch.
And we thank you so much for becoming a supporter of the broadcast. And we hope you enjoy your fancy prizes. Here's a little fancy putting, it looks like, Dave. Unsuccessful, but nonetheless, maybe a bit of a personal signature there. Looks like a side bet was involved in that.
Needs a little bit more practice on that. If he's going to do that, he'd better at least hit metal from 4 feet.
Here's 2 of our most outstanding athletes in the sport, ladies and gentlemen. Local Paul Ulibarri on the left, and the towering Ken Climo, otherwise known as the Champ, with 12 titles on that mantle, and an assortment of international shows that none of us will forget. If you've been close to a Climo victory, it's certainly special. There's Doc, our spotter, another big factor here at Fountain Hills. The spotters helping players keep track of their discs should they go errantly into the water. But a lot of support here through the disc golf community of Fountain Hills and Phoenix. Shout goes out to the Arizona Disc Golf Club for providing us this hospitality and such a welcome environment for our first NT of the 2011 season.
Josh Anthon is known for his runs. You know, I mean, he gets on some runs and he can just flat burn it up.
He's got a pile of course records, too.
Parking this first hole like this is all Josh needed to get started here. I think that was, I'm not sure who that was. You couldn't really see. Here we go with the Champ. Yeah, that had to be Eric McCabe with the little layup. He was widest of all.
Right.
Ken Climo, one of the best 40-foot and in putters I have ever seen, and that has made him the money.
Well, his arm is an extra 2 feet longer than normal. as you see evident. So in other words, a 20-footer to me is an 18-footer to Ken. I think I better practice on my 38-footers.
Great start there for Ken Climo, who is overall just great athlete. Now we have Paul Ulibarri. I don't know if anyone heard his interview the other day, but Ken Climo just recently carded a 76 on the ball golf course since he's been in Arizona. So I would suggest the Champions Tour look out. Ken Climo, if he sets his mind to it, can do just about anything. Josh Anthon with the absolute park job.
Very impressive. Here's our current champion.
A rare smile from Josh. Josh is usually pretty much business on the course and serious, but boy, when you put him that close, you got to smile.
Sure is. Here we are on the tee on 18. That Huck Lab banner shows evidence of the breeze still remaining here at Fountain Hills. As a classic position for most of the approach, most of the drives rather, on number 18. Great to see this community open its doors to this NT event here at Fountain Hills Park. What a wonderful environment for success. Once again, we're fixing to introduce our leader group. You see a great gallery assembled on the first tee, a wonderful environment for some fantastic shots here.
Okay, this leader group is separated by a mere 4 strokes. You have Paul McBeth sitting at 29 under. You have Nate Doss 27 under, Barry Schultz 26, and Nikko Locastro 25 under. Holy cow, they got world champs, we got US champs, and then we got the leader, Paul McBeth, teen sensation, ready to just take on the world right here. What a group. What a day. What a tournament. Holy cow, here we go, Craze.
We're set up. This is what it's all about, folks. Don't forget, it's not too late. Log on to discgolfplanet.tv, call your family and friends, tell them that the lead card is on the tee now. Become a supporter of the broadcast and will as well become eligible for many prizes we'll be giving away throughout the broadcast. Thanks again to our founding partners, the PDGA, Innova Champion Discs, and the Philadelphia Insurance Companies for bringing us this live coverage to your living room, at home or on the go. It's Disc Golf Planet bringing you the best in disc golf. Let's go live to the first tee with Paul McBeth.
You know, the sign said 390, but it's playing a little bit longer than that today. Paul McBeth didn't get to be our leader by not being a great putter, and he has been the best putter all week long. We'll see if he can give himself a chance to put one in right here on hole 1. On the tee, Paul McBeth. Paul playing it safe on this first hole. Doesn't want to kick himself in the foot on the very first hole. Here we have Nate Doss, former world champion. Nate dusted this same field last week in Vegas. I'm thinking he's looking like he's ready to do it again. He's a contender, Nate Doss.
I'm a contender. Northern California, awfully proud of this young man.
Looks like Nate's going for it a little bit more so than Paul did. Oh my, that is not what he wanted to see on the first shot of the last round.
Hold on to my headset, Dave. I'm going to go over there and shake Nate for a second.
Wow. Here we have former U.S. champion, former world champion, multiple of both.
Now what's going through Barry's mind after Nate puts it in the drink?
You know what? Barry's been here, done that. Barry's probably going to swing it a little bit wider as a result of that shot. Here we go.
But that iPod's cranked.
Oh, no.
All right. Even our top card suffering some less than desirable outcomes here, folks. We're not kidding. These conditions might be mentioned more than you care to hear, but they are prevalent. And number one, the wind is our ally. So let's see how these gentlemen are going to deal with it. St. Louis brings you Nikko Locastro, a popular face on the tour, and he's certainly making quite a charge this early in the year.
They do not want to open the door for Nikko Locastro. This is one of our most dynamic players, Nikko Locastro. That was huge. Settled in there by the line. Great shot from Nikko Locastro. A little bit of break there off the sign. Nikko is one tough cookie. Having a re-tee here from Nate Doss.
I think this could skip in.
He's going for it, you can tell. Not again.
What's up, Dave?
Oh my goodness. This
Very
is
disappointing.
very disappointing for Nate.
Now,
Oh my goodness.
why not just add some elevation, pull it way over to the right, have a 100-foot layup for a par, David? Excuse me.
I'm kind of speechless right this minute.
There's a little slip on Barry's part. That's going to kill some distance. What a great outcome.
I mean, we've talked about this wind. It's not as prevalent as it was, but it definitely makes this hole play longer. Nate can reach this with just about any disc in his bag and left both of them short. Unbelievable.
Well, this is what the touring professional's mind has to go through with it, ladies and gentlemen, on a championship Saturday. Don't forget, these folks are going for $50,000 in prize money gathered by our sponsors. You're looking at the beautiful view of the 18th tee, one of our more difficult holes, the final signature for the players as they make their way to the scoring 10. Thanks again to our scoring official, Susie Rocks, for doing a great job, and she does every year. This is going right at the pin.
Good shot. That is one of the best shots we have seen all day on hole 18. That is just spectacular.
If you notice, not a big run-up, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need a bunch of, your body does not need a bunch of momentum to make the disc go far. You just need a streamlined set of mechanics. So we go back to Doss for his third
alternate
tee
tee
shot.
Oh my goodness,
This
what
is-
an absolute nightmare Nate is having on hole 1. I'm sure that the group that just played the hole, Ken Climo, Paul Ulibarri, and Josh Anthon, are getting a little bit excited over this.
Like
You know,
you
nobody
said.
wants to see anybody have bad luck, but it's part of the game, and boy, does it open some doors.
Now, Nate's actually thrown the 5 strokes already to make up the
Wow.
distance to the bottom of the second card. So imagine what's going on inside his head, ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching this unfold live. The 3-time world champion, Nate Doss, suffering an early deficit here on the first hole.
You know, you don't think one hole can take you out of a tournament, but boy, this one sure is hurting Nate right now.
Tough state of mind to break out of here
Wow.
in just a couple of holes. Barry Schultz has got everything but the kitchen. Oh, he does have the kitchen sink down low there, right?
On
Good
wheels.
way to go, Barry.
Kitchen sink on wheels.
Paul
McBeth.
McBeth, right behind the tree we spoke of. Those of you might use this as a tactic to pick a target on the course. It's hard to pick out a blade of grass, so if you find something close to it, this can help in your strategy. Course management isn't optimal.
I'm thinking if Paul McBeth had any designs on going for this shot, there is none left now. After seeing all of that action, he's putting this right under the basket. There you go. Smart play. You know, he played it wide. We thought he might go for this and get a 2, but he's going to settle for the 3, which Nate would give most anything in his bag for a 3 right now.
Right. Well, he's going to get a couple of them on this hole.
Wow. I mean, this is an amazing story right here.
Barry Schultz looking at the point of intersect and then see if he can get his disc back. I know Doc the Spotter is always eager to please.
I mean, and Nate is such a great sport, you know. I mean, Nate has been really good for our game ever since he showed up on tour, what seemed like 50 years ago, but Nate's just in his early 20s here.
Right.
And what a great ambassador for our sport, and you got to feel bad for Nate Doss.
Here we have our spotter, and I'm sure we'll have official in there soon to eliminate any controversy. Players obviously taking their time to make the right call.
You know, that kind of action right there just kind of almost makes you numb crazy. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Nate comes out of this. I mean, there's still 17 holes left after this, but you got to shake this early, and boy, that's a big handful of strokes there to have to shake off.
Now, 2 things can happen, Dave. You can picture him making this next putt. He's going to walk away with his
7?
7 or 8.
Wow.
And it's going to stick with him for a couple, 3 holes.
I mean,
walking
how can
into
it
the
not?
longest hole of the course with the distance of the hole is identical to the length of the OB. So he's not out of the kitchen just yet.
No, he's not.
But as you mentioned, he's a great player. He's got a great history and a background. He's got a good heart. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this unfold as the sportsmanship is also a valuable element here. Self-control, these are all vital elements to the game of golf. Seeing a bit of a...
No question. And there's been none better since they've been in the game than Nate Doss.
Looks like they've reached a consensus here with Doc, the spotter, giving an exact location for a disc's breach into the out-of-bounds territory. Doss will approach and mark.
And as calm as it looks right there, actually in the last couple of minutes the wind has picked up to our backs. You can't really see it there, but it has picked up again and could be a factor on the next couple of holes.
This will be a tailwind for Doss.
See our cameramen there and see the gallery.
The one and only Terry Roddy from Pantload Productions out there bringing out his best, getting you these great shots from the first tee. It's like Doss has yielded to Locastro. Locastro going for a 2. Could be a fantastic start to this championship Saturday.
You can count on some metal right here. Oh. Tough putt. I mean, the OB is only about 7-8 feet behind there. I mean, Nikko wanted to run for that, and he gave it kind of a run, but that's really hard to really go for that.
Not an easy putt here for Doss. Not after all this hoopla that's occurred.
There's that wind we were talking about starting to move the flag a little bit. Nate Doss.
For his 7.
Wow.
And not contacting any basket.
Ooh.
This is going to be a surprise, as we said. 5 strokes over par, a potential outcome for Doss as he separates himself from the lead card in a hurry on hole 1. Here's his.
That is going to be tough to shake.
Well, not impossible though, Dave. Nate's first title as a junior, winning by 25 strokes at the age of 18 in Kansas City on that wonderful Saturday afternoon at Swope Park. Barry Schultz for the 3.
Wow. You know what? Most of these guys come from in the middle of the country to north of the country to get out of the snow, and daggone it, Nate just created a snowman for himself.
He did.
Wow.
Locastro for par, McBeth as well. There's Barry Schultz grabbing his disc there.
Nikko acting a little disappointed that he didn't cash that 2, but you know what? Nate would love to have that 3.
That's what we expect from Locastro too. He stays on the emotional side of the game, but it's nonetheless energetic and passionate. Those of you at home are enjoying this live coverage. You're watching the DiscGolfPlanet.tv's broadcast of the 2011 Memorial Championships, brought to you by Discraft. I'm Crazy John Brooks, your host, joined by disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer Dave Greenwell. Dave, a lot of action here as our lead card has taken to the course.
Still shaking my head, Craze. I mean, a lot of people watch NASCAR just to see the wrecks. Well, if you're watching this show, you just saw a wreck right on the first hole. So
freeway's shut down, right?
I mean, we're hoping for good things for Nate after this, but if you know somebody, tell them to tune in and watch this action, because I'm telling you right now, this is going to be something to remember.
I'd like to take you back in time a little bit and show you just a brief highlight reel on Paul McBeth and his journey into the lead card today.
We've caught up with Paul McBeth, going to be attacking the Fountain Hills course. Paul, what are you looking to do out at the Fountain Hills course?
Stay out of the water and off the roads. Keep it in bounds. Get some birdies.
You can go out of bounds just about every single hole out there at Fountain Hills. Is there any hole that's a nemesis or anything that you want to be particularly careful of?
Hole 1 and 2 mostly. You got to start out strong, stay in bounds, get a birdie or a 3.
Just playing for a par on hole 1, and then hole 2, I would assume you're just playing for a 3 as well. Do you mind taking a 4 there?
No, 4 is fine as long as I'm not in the water. Keep my disc.
Welcome to sunny and breezy Fountain Hills, Arizona for the final round of the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. I'm Crazy John Brooks, your host of this weekend's broadcast. I'm joined by disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer Dave Greenwell. Dave, a lot of action here as Nikko Locastro blisters his drive a number 2.
You know, that was pretty much the garden spot. That's right where you want to be on that hole. And now we have Nate, who I'm still shaking my head for him, and I hope he can pull something out right here and just kind of forget about that and get started. Nice down the middle.
Perfectly placed drive. Could be evident to him just putting all that in the past, which is required as a professional, folks. These guys are going for $50,000 in prize money.
That was a great shot right there, and I mean, you would expect nothing else from Nate. I mean, you know, here he just took a snowman, took an 8 on the first hole, and yet you didn't see him yell, you didn't see him get mad, and that's the mark of a true champion.
You're exactly right. As we see the tee shots on 18, here's
That's
an early
trouble.
release. Gonna need a couple of towels for that. This hole playing the most detrimental to players. It's not over till it's over, folks. He's going out to check out and see if it's in his weight class, I guess.
I am sure there is a treasure chest, a plethora of discs in that area where that duck is.
An exciting environment for live disc golf. Those of you at home enjoying the show, we thank you for becoming supporters of the broadcast. You are becoming the lifeblood of bringing disc golf to the world. Once again, just click on the Choose to Donate banner and become part of the Disc Golf Planet family. Look at the gallery assembling here. A lot of the amateur field is parts of this huge crowd here as we look at the fairway of number 2. Paul McBeth lining up.
Our current leader in a perfect position. Paul McBeth. Paul going for the green.
And that's got enough wind behind
Boy,
it.
what
That
a
can skip
shot
in.
that is. Oh my, oh
And he
my, here we go again. This is going to be a shootout. I mean, it's actually, I would say it's everything we thought it was going to be, but it's not what we thought it was going to be. It is definitely some fireworks, and Nikko Locastro got a little different stride about him. I'm sure Josh Anthon, who just parked the first hole, Ken Climo, who parked the first hole. You know, that's a new life breathed into them right there by both Nate and by Paul McBeth, who just threw it in the water.
Believe it. Used to seeing some of the more streamlined performances for the pros, but nonetheless, we've seen quite a handful of mistakes made just yet. As you see in the lead, it's McBeth by 4 over Barry Schultz, and barring that first hole, and then Nikko Locastro 1 back of Schultz at 153, and 3 back due to that snowman on number 1, Nathan Doss. The players have teed off on number 2. And you're watching the best in the game here. Our top 2 open cards have taken to the course now, and our coverage will continue to follow these folks, bringing you through the fruition of the championship. Here's Nikko Locastro. There's out of bounds right as well. There's some imaginary lines that were imported to add additional out of bounds territory. And as you see, that luminous border of the lake coming into play for 3 of our 4 players already this round.
Well, if Barry Schultz doesn't throw this one way to the right, then he didn't learn much. I mean, this wind is really playing tricks on these guys. You know, I mean, these guys are good. They play all the time, and it's kind of surprising to see so many mistakes here in the first 2 holes. That's way better shot right there by Barry Schultz.
Classic low line. This will have some skip value also.
Way better shot by Barry Schultz.
And that's inside the circle, folks, from over 400 feet.
Somebody finally learned something from the other guy's mistakes.
Nate Doss, after that great drive, one of the longest we've seen, has a perfect angle of attack. You see the palm tree just over Doss's head. That's to the right of the basket. And this shot, this view here from roughly 390 feet.
Great camera coverage. And, you know, this is just what Nate needs to get back in the game a little bit here. You couldn't have thrown it in a better spot off of the tee. Let's see where this one ends up.
That's a right to left wind.
Oh! Almost skipped in.
That's rolling back towards the pin.
Still has a look at it. It's probably about 30, 35 feet, but got to look at it, and a really good shot there from Nate Doss.
Good chance for birdie there left for Doss. You're right. Here we go back to 18. And we see the wind up and down throughout the week here. Our temperatures blessed into the low 80s after a run into the cold last weekend. A dip in the jet stream brought snow to the beautiful mountaintops here. It's final round coverage of the Memorial, presented by Discraft.
Well, he just lunged at the basket there. You just need to relax and just flow through the putts. That was just not very good technique.
Now, your body knows when it's at rest and in a perfect balance better than you might believe. If your body's not comfortable, you have any small idiosyncrasy or change in pattern in your footwork or anything, every little bit, every adjustment can help. There's McBeth going a little bit to the left of it seemed like a wide open approach shot.
You know, balance was a key word you said there, Craze. I mean, balance is everything when you're putting. If you don't have good balance, then it's really hard to throw a good shot. You know, I mean, balance and timing, the whole 9 yards, it all goes together. But balance is the start.
You see Locastro eager to check out his lie as he approaches the basket on 2. I want to thank again our vending sponsors here at the Memorial. Once again, later in the afternoon, we'll have our interviews with our champions from the Dynamic Discs Winners Circle. You're, of course, seeing the broadcast. Dave and I joining you from the luxurious discgolfcenter.com Lakeside Studios here along the beautiful water's edge at Fountain Hills. This is the final round of competition in the first NT event on the PDGA Pro Tour this year. $50,000 in prize money on the line, and you're watching it live due to the miracles of discgolfplanet.tv, bringing you the best in disc golf. A shout out to World Sports, also producers of the Scepter, Scabbard, and the Next Tee Indicator to help navigate your course better, helping the game and making the world better.
Hole 18. You know, that was a nice, safe shot, but he ended up right by that tree. That's going to be a tough stance.
Seems to be a natural collection area on the top and flat part of the right side of the fairway. So we go back to Doss and his attempt for birdie on number 2.
Get in there.
Oh, and he's done it! It's saving the stroke!
I'll tell you what a way to come off of a snowman with about a 40-foot putt for birdie from Nate Doss.
Well done, Mr. Doss. And as we said, you know, some of these pros will not allow such a bad hole as number 1 could be for Doss. They won't allow it to stick with them.
Attaboy,
out
Nate.
with the old and in with the new. As we look at Locastro's perch on the water's edge, here at number 2. This also
one of the most colorful players on tour, one of the best putters, Nikko Locastro.
is uphill from 42 feet. And glances left and no good, but nonetheless safe for the tap in. Now we cut back to Doss. Nathan also probably having some bit of an emotional residue for Valerie's tough finish on 18.
I'm sure. And Barry Schultz, who played this picture perfect, all he has left is about 25 feet for birdie. Barry Schultz. Oh,
And
my.
McBeth and Locastro with a bird's eye view of that air ball from Schultz. He's left with that for a par. It's a great upshot.
It just goes to show you, even champions get ahead of themselves. Barry's way was way up there before the disc was, and it had no chance.
As soon as that went under the basket, Dave, I noted. Did you notice the lull in the wind? We're just across the opposite side of this second green.
Who has no fear when it comes to putting. I mean, he is on the pole like a rocket almost every single time. Paul McBeth.
703 feet, negotiated in 2 shots with a 12-foot putt for birdie. Here's Locastro, an undesirable.
No, McBeth was in the water.
Okay, check that. That was for McBeth's 4, or for the par.
There's Barry with par. I'm sure he's not very happy about that. He missed a golden opportunity to pick up strokes on everybody but Nate right there, and had to settle for 4, which is par. I'm sure he feels like it was a bogey.
Yep, the beautiful.
Okay, their next. Okay, we have Paul McBeth on the tee. We just had another park job there by Paul McBeth. We had Nate Doss just put it right under the basket. Barry Schultz just behind the basket. I mean, this is only 294 feet, and even though there's OB all around it, all these guys should make that. Nikko Locastro. Another good shot there. Nikko with a little bit of a tester putt here. He didn't want to be quite that far left. The other three guys are pretty much just parked. The only tough part about that is the tall basket, Terry.
Yeah, it is. And, well, first of all, thank you. I snuck up on you, and next thing you know, I'm here in the Disc Golf Center Lakeside Studios. Glad to be with you here. It is the DiscGolfPlanet.tv coverage of the final round of the Memorial Championships, Dave, and I'm excited to be here. I see you guys have been watching some pretty hot action thus far.
Holy cow, hot is one word for it. Discombobulated is another word for it. Wow is another word. So, you know, I mean, this is just the beginning of what is probably going to be a memorable round for anybody watching.
It seems like it's already started off on this leader card. I noticed that Nate Doss struggled right off the bat. A couple of guys took advantage and have stepped right up, and we're going to have a great battle, I think, throughout the rest of this event.
I think so as well. And you had Nate Doss cutting a snowman on the first hole, but then he comes back with a great birdie on 2. He's got a park job on 3. So, I mean, there's no quit in Nate Doss. Nikko Locastro. Wow, he made that look like it was nothing, and it's not that far away, but when it's elevated like that, that's no gimme.
Nikko, very slow and methodical. I don't know if that's some kind of a mind game or if he's just not excited about his 2. I know I would be.
Nikko's still thinking about the hole before, I can tell you that right now. I mean, he usually lets it go pretty good, but, you know, I mean, there's just been so many dramatic turnarounds, and we just started the round, so, yeah, it's a head shaker for sure. There you have this is Nate Doss, who just put it right under the basket. I'm really kind of surprised he went out. I'm not sure why. Maybe there was somebody moving around on the other side of the basket and Barry didn't want to putt. I think Barry's right behind it. Maybe he was the only one over there and it was a kind of a courtesy thing, but nonetheless, Barry's got a pretty easy putt here, and I look for him to make this.
Probably doesn't hurt that Barry stands probably about 6'3", 6'4", so he's got a few extra inches on the top of that basket, those elevated baskets out here. There are 2 of them located out on this course as we move on to hole 4 at 463 feet.
You know, it says 463 feet, but it probably plays a little closer to 400. It's downhill most of the way. There's a few metal boxes behind there that kind of come into play. You know, if you get lucky and hit one, it saves you and you got an easy shot. If you get in between them, it's tough to putt. And you could actually go between them and out the other side onto the road. So there is a guardian tree that sits in front of the basket there. There's a road to the right that most of these guys will probably be throwing right down the road with an overstable disc, that is, since they're all right-handed. And I look to see some birdies on this next hole.
I would expect so as well, and if there was one word that I would use to describe this hole, it would be gnarly. And because that tree that, as you said, is a guardian down at that basket, if you are not past that tree, you are not going to be throwing a putt through it. And we saw a few shots yesterday, people going up and over, and I think it's a gnarly tree. Again, we are here live at the Disc Golf Center Lakeside Studios. Dave Greenwell and myself, it has been an honor and a pleasure to be here all week, and this is what we've been waiting for, right, Dave?
Wow, this is it. I mean, the best of the best of the best in the last round on a tough course. Great day, little bit of wind, and what a comeback from Nate Doss. You know, after carting a snowman on the first hole, he's got back-to-back birdies. He's got the tee. Look for another one right here.
And I think he's got the momentum. Let's see.
Nate Doss. Great looking shot from Nate. You know, right when he stepped up to throw, we heard that familiar hum that happens right before the fountain goes off. And I mean, the fountain could create a little bit of havoc. with this extra wind that it produces, although they're on the other side of the lake right here, so they're not nearly as affected as the guys on 1 and 2 would be. So here you go, Barry Schultz, Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Wow, great shot there from Barry Schultz.
As I said, that is the gnarly tree. We will find out if he gets past it and have a birdie look. And next up to tee is Paul McBeth.
He's been our leader since the very beginning of this tournament. Had a couple of tough shots so far. Let's see what he can do right here. California native, teen sensation, Paul McBeth. Great form right there. Ooh, just a little bit early.
Yeah, I
hit
do
the
not
top
think
of that hill. He didn't really get all of that. He put a little too much hyzer. You know,
I don't think he threw it quite hard enough, Dave.
I don't think so either.
It came out a little short and early, and he is not going to have a very good look at a birdie opportunity as Nikko backs up to get his tee position.
You can bet Nikko is jacked. Nikko Locastro right down the road. He crushed this one. Oh, off the boxes we were talking about. Wow.
That may have skipped in for all we know.
It looked like it stayed in bounds, and Nikko had a little smile right there because, I mean, that could have hit the side of the box and had no putt. Could have hit the side of the box and went out of bounds. It looked like it skipped back in bounds. Holy cow, this is quite a wild start to the final round of the 23rd Memorial Championship presented by Discraft.
As we look at our leaderboard, Paul McBeth still with 2-stroke lead with a 156, and Barry just behind him, and Nikko and Nate trailing only by a few strokes though. I caught up with Paul McBeth earlier today before the round as he was relaxing, and he said, "I want a drama-free round." That was his exact quote. He is not looking to entertain us today. He is looking to put together a solid round and come out and just play consistent. He even said he'd like to shoot in the 40s. Oddly enough, when I discussed it with him, he said if I shoot a 46, that would force Nate to shoot a 44. Well, as we found out on the first hole, that's not necessarily going to come into play right off the bat.
He's got a couple of those to make up already, so 46 would be unbelievable if he can pull that out from here. You see the fountain going off behind us. It's creating some havoc, but not in the part of the course that they're in currently. So, I mean, they get a little bit of a break from it. And you saw the scoreboard, but what you didn't see is the card that involves Josh Anthon, Ken Climo, and local star Paul Ulibarri. Because I'm sure that we saw them all birdie hole 1, you know, so this could be a totally different score than what we've seen so far.
Yeah, these guys will not be able to rest on any kind of score because they always have to worry about that card that's just behind them, only a few strokes off their pace. And if anyone gets hot today, as we've seen so many of these top guys do, they may catch up to someone on that first card.
Here you go. Paul Ulibarri, only 1 stroke behind Josh Anthon, who's 1 stroke behind. Oh my goodness, this is amazing here.
And as we'll see here, Paul and the rest of the crew will be lining up their next shot. There is that gnarly tree I spoke of. There is a small gap that Nate might have to be able to throw through. If he landed 2 feet left or right of where he is, he may not have had any look at that basket. Wow. This is about as fortunate as you can get for where he landed.
You know, this is definitely not out of the question for Nate. This looks like, I mean, he's going to have to take a little bit of heat off of this thing and just kind of let it fall left. He's got to get the stroke straight out and just let it fall. There's no aiming right at the basket. There, oh, hit the top. Brant, that one was looking great. Just a little bit high. He can't believe it. He thought he had that putt.
As you can see, the road is just a few feet behind that basket, and that comes into play when they're going to be lining up those putts on hole 4. Not only are you trying to make the putt, but if you miss, you got to make sure you don't go deep of it.
Well, on top of that, there's all the distractions of the cars going up and down it. So that's a very busy corner there to putt. You really have to maintain your focus on that hole more so than most of the other ones.
Here's a beautiful view looking down past hole 15.
Kind of going back and forth across the course there. It looks like, kind of looks like Steve Mills back there in the background.
Steve playing above his average this week, as I noticed some scores earlier. We'll see if Barry can convert.
Barry Schultz. There's one. There's one for former champ Barry Schultz.
Brings it around the left side of the basket. He's got to be happy about that fortunate break. It wasn't in the heart of the chains, but he still cards it too.
You know, Barry has actually been the best player at the Memorial for the past 10 years. Dave Fehlberg's been the best player for the last 5, but for over the last 10, it's been Barry Schultz. So it would be no surprise to see Barry Schultz put on a show for us this afternoon.
I must say, it was even uncharacteristic to notice that Barry did not win the Gentlemen's Club last weekend. It looks like Nikko is coming in and marking his lie. It looks like after he skipped off the box, he may have gone out of bounds. They've given him his lie. This will be for a circle 3 or a penalty 3. And he has converted on that. He might have caught a little bit of a break. He was out of bounds, but still saving a 3 with minimal damage here.
As hard as that disc skip left, it's hard to believe that it didn't stay in bounds. There you go, Paul McBeth. We think that was for birdie. We're not really sure. Nate Doss for 3. That's right. Actually, Paul McBeth left it short up on the hillside on that one. So that was for par.
Let's go.
I tell you what, the second group has got to be licking their chops right now, because every one of them had the opportunity to birdie all of these holes in a row. And we sure haven't seen as many birdies out of the leader group as we thought we would. Back to hole 18. Yeah, that's way safe. Hopefully sit down. Oh, good shot.
That looked like Dion Arlen, if I wasn't mistaken. We have a different camera angle out here today, which is great, bringing you all of this great coverage on discgolfplanet.tv. Trying to cover this entire beautiful hills, Fountain Hills course. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a great angle, different than what we had seen previous. Now the leader group is heading to hole 5, which is 372 feet. It's got OB left, OB right, OB long. But, you know, this is one of the easier birdies for these guys. You know, it's a low, you got to keep a low, flat shot that heels out a little bit at the end, but not too much. The main danger for me is a little right and a little long. You know, that's what you want to look for here.
Dave, for everyone at home right now, knowing these top players and what they do, would you say they'd be throwing drivers, or are they going to throw something a little more controlled at 372 feet?
You know, I would think they would probably be throwing drivers just because of the low ceiling here.
Yep, I would say so as well. We noticed that some of these players would like to back off usually if they're needing a more controlled shot. But at 372 feet, low and flat, that sounds like a driver to me. As we move over to hole 15.
Yeah, the fountain going off, we're feeling some pretty heavy wind coming at our back. That it can affect most of the rest of the course, just not where the leaders are. Wow, what a putt right there. That was a nice walking putt. You know, I mean, there are putting rules inside of 10 meters and outside of 10 meters. When you're outside of 10 meters, after you release, you can go on and fall forward. And it's really a pretty good idea, because if you're walking toward the basket, it usually goes toward the basket. Great putt.
And one of the best low throwers in the entire game is Barry Schultz. It looks like there's been some kind of a distraction or something that he is addressing.
Here we have it on the tee. Barry Schultz. Wow, that's looking like it could be trouble. Oh my!
No,
Oh, you can't pick that up.
Oh, and unfortunately, that is a major error. We have a spectator.
Oh my!
We couldn't tell if it hit the car or the spectator.
It looked like it hit both, and the good news for Barry is that disc is considered safe, because the spectator is in play there. And if it would have hit the car only, it would still be safe. So great break there for Barry Schultz. Now we have Nate Doss on the tee. Yeah, that was a shank there by Barry. I think he threw a rock on that hole and put too much Anheuser on it. Nate Doss. And Nate did just the opposite there. Wow. Oh, no. Nate Doss out of bounds on this, one of the holes that I know that he was counting on a birdie. I guess seeing Barry throw it over toward the road right there, he got a little bit paranoid and did just the opposite. There are doors opening all over this place. Now you have Paul McBeth on the tee. That is more like it. It's still going to be a little bit left of the basket.
And I think
Nice
he can
set.
handle that left. It looked how much, we didn't know how much it would hyzer out, but Paul is within 20 feet of the basket and looking good compared to his two card mates at the moment.
And you know, I think all of them so far have been throwing mid-ranges, which kind of surprised me. Maybe that ceiling is a little bit higher than it used to be. But all of those landed like mid-ranges. Nikko Locastro taking the wide route, trying to pull it in. Gotta sit down. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
Wow, Dave, what are we witnessing here on this leader card? We've just seen three very uncharacteristically poor shots by these guys, and Paul has put himself within 20 feet, and Paul with just a one-stroke lead at the moment, sitting at 159, Barry 160, and Nikko and Nate just behind them. We'd like to thank DiscNation.com, the original Disc Golf Superstore. They've been a huge supporter of the Disc Golf Planet broadcast, as well as my very own Disc Golf Guy video blog. So thank you to Disc Nation. They're even extending a special offer to anyone that wants to go out and put in Memorial on the coupon code, and you'll receive a 15% discount on any orders purchased through Sunday.
Well, that's one nation under par, and I tell you what, there's a lot of nations on that first card that aren't under par. Oh my goodness. See, big headwind right here. This is going to be a tester. You can see the flags blowing straight out, and a lot of that due to the fountain. Tough putting conditions, just all of a sudden. You could see him pointing at the fountain. You know, I mean, that was a created wind there.
Looks as if our leader card is deciding how they are going to proceed down the fairway. They are getting an official ruling. It looks like Barry is asking just that.
I mean, everybody's scratching their heads, and I mean, that is in bounds. That was a spectator. I mean, it wasn't like Barry's brother out there and he was knocking it in bounds on purpose. If it's off a spectator, it's a safe shot, and he gets to play it from right there.
So we're seeing some of these guys discuss exactly what happened. Now he's noticed that the car and the perpetrator, so to speak, has left the scene of the crime. Where he would have been parked. We see that he is no longer there.
And on top of that, he gets a meter in bounds. So, I mean, Barry could cash this.
Look at the beautiful view of the fountain. And Barry, like I said, there's Jason Ilian from the International Disc Golf Center.
Yeah, we have a spectator out here that we're familiar with, Jeff Homburg. Jeff, go down there and tell him that that's in bounds.
Jeff Homburg, a
longtime PDGA member on every kind of rules committee, all the standard committees. Jeff, go tell them what's going on.
I think you made the right call, Dave.
I think they are discussing as to how they'll proceed, and as you're saying, Dave.
Well, some of these guys aren't going to like it, but the spectator is part of the course. It was an accident. He hit the guy, and it is safe right where it lies, and he still gets the meter in bounds. They're all looking at the rules, but the rule is pretty simple, and they should all know that. They had to take the test to even be able to play in this tournament. There you have Nate Sexton, Oregon resident, Dave Feldberg protege. Left it a little tough spot right there. He's got to deal with that tree, and I know he doesn't want to.
Well, this leader card drama,
wow.
It continues. Here we are. As we said, they are talking about it on hole 4, and we saw both Nate and Nikko go out of bounds ever so slightly.
Looks like Nate's going to be out here, I think. He's getting ready. Yeah, that was way left.
And that is
Wow.
I noticed he is lined up on the other side of the sidewalk.
That's pretty
Is
weird.
he playing this correctly?
It doesn't look like it to me, but maybe he is. I thought he was out of bounds. But apparently it's just the Ramada that's out of bounds, and across that sidewalk might be safe.
I don't think so. We're taking a look at the caddy book where it says the curb and beyond and concrete above the storage drain is safe. Sidewalk left and beyond is out of bounds, and I believe Nate was beyond the out of bounds.
Wow. Barry Schultz
For 2.
with a gift from the spectator, and oh no. Shoo! Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, this group is killing me. I'm going to have a heart attack before they even get a third of the way through the course here. Nikko Locastro
We may have just
taking
had a
his
bad
meter in. I don't really get it. It looked like he was over that sidewalk, and I thought that was out of bounds.
It may have been our vantage point, Dave. I'm certainly not calling any shots here for sure. It just seemed as if Nate was beyond the sidewalk when he putted that. The caddy guide clearly states sidewalk left and beyond is out of bounds. And here's Nikko.
Nikko Locastro for one of his patented saves there. What a great putt from Nikko. That was huge right there. That just brought him right back into the game. If he misses that in bogeys, Nikko's not very happy about it. I guarantee you. Now we have PoY McBeth, our leader, for the only possible birdie on this hole.
Paul is focused. Let's see if he converts.
No question, Paul has been just on fire with the putter all week long, and what a turn of events. This is just wild.
And Barry's putt, which was just a little bit wide right, took a goofy bounce off the basket. You see he is bringing it in 1 meter from the out-of-bounds circle, even though it is bringing him closer to the basket, which is a great rule clarification at home.
I'm sure all of these amateurs in the gallery watching are just in shock. They can't even believe what's going on. Barry with a nice par save.
When we caught up with Barry earlier this week, he was curious to know about having the finals out here on Saturday afternoon. He knew this is a very busy park any day of the week, as Nate just drops in. He was a little bit skeptical about all the patrons that would be walking the park and the spectators and all of the people out here. And it seems as if today he's held up a few times because of some of those distractions.
Well, fortunately for Barry, there was a spectator watching there, and he got tagged.
That may have saved him a stroke on this hole.
Well, no question about it. That was going way OB.
Here again we are, the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. This is Dave Greenwell, Hall of Famer and living legend and idol of mine, certainly. And I am Terry, the Disc Golf Guy Miller. So thank you guys for tuning in. We have some unbelievable action going on here today, and we really set the stage. I should say the players have set the stage, and we're bringing it to you live.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know much what to say, except if you got a friend, tell them to tune in. This is something special. I don't know if all of it's good, but man, is it different.
Well, this is all brought to you by our sanctioning body, the Professional Disc Golf Association. This is our first national tour event of the year as we watch Paul tee off on hole 6. And
it looked like a good shot, but the whole right side of that is straight downhill. And if that disc stood up at all, it's going to roll right into the road. You know, it's only 233 feet here. Then they have to throw a hyzer shot in between the two trees there on the right. And looks like Barry's going to throw an upside down shot. Looks like he's thinking about throwing a Scooby shot, which he did.
He has thrown just that.
And what a great shot that was. Good shot from Barry Schultz, as long as it didn't continue to roll. It was bouncing around like crazy.
Oh, it bounced up on edge, and he is not happy about that.
Wow.
It looked as if it landed just feet from the basket, but unfortunately, with it coming in on edge, it could have bounced up and rolled out of bounds.
The main reason Barry threw that was for a safe shot that wouldn't go anywhere, and it looked like a super ball the way it was bouncing.
And Nate, It looked like he may have come up a little left. I think you'd definitely rather be
Yeah,
left
I
on
mean,
this
if you
hole than
mess
right.
up on this hole, you want to mess up left for sure, because there's no OB to the left and there's definite OB to the right. Not only is there OB, but then you have about a 35-foot straight uphill putt to deal with. So look for Nikko. If he's not right by the pin, he should be a little bit left on this shot.
Very overstable
shot.
mid-range that just misses
Yeah,
the
Nikko
basket.
Locastro.
Dave, we've seen a handful of these players take the disc in their left hand and kind of wave it against their right hand. Why are they doing that?
They're just drying their hand a little bit, just fanning their hand. What they need is a birdie bag. You know, I mean, birdie bags are one of the best tools you can have when your hands are sweaty. It's natural powder, just knock it on your hands. Each little molecule is like your favorite sweater that got eaten by a bunch of moths. It's real jagged and very absorbent. So if your hands are sweaty, get yourself a birdie bag.
Best part about those birdie bags is they can be picked up by any of our vending sponsors here
There
that
you
are
go.
supporting discgolfplanet.tv.
No doubt about it. Wow, Terry, this is quite an exciting start to this championship. Whoa. Paul McBeth has a 3-stroke lead over Barry, as you can see, but we really don't have the scores yet for the second card. And I'm thinking somebody in the second card could be in the lead by now. If not, then I'm pretty sure that they're going to be ahead of Barry.
Nobody seems to be pulling away with this at this point off this card. So the second card is 2 holes ahead of these guys. So with some of the drama and some of the things that have unfolded here, this lead card is playing a little bit slower. And they probably don't mind the slower play because then they're not getting hung up at one of the backups.
You know, if you're not totally out of it score-wise, the second card is a really advantageous place to be sometime. There's not as much pressure, not as much gallery, not as much distraction. So there you had Nate Doss there for a second, looked like he's down by the road, and you see this monster uphill putt that he's got to deal with. And the thing about this is if he hits the basket, he could end up, whoa, that was close to being right back down by the motorcycles. You know, if he just touches that basket, it's going to hit the ground and good chance it's going to stand up and roll right to the bottom again.
We are unsure if Barry's ultimately rolled out of bounds. He definitely was not happy with the after spin after landing, so
Very difficult putt to go for right here. You can bet he is going for it because it is uphill, but man, I'm telling you, anything can happen if he hits the basket and doesn't go in. Barry just kind of laying it up there. That wasn't a real go for it, and you saw that he had anhyzer on that disc, so it's going to be going toward the top of the hill instead of having a chance to hyzer out and roll back down to the bottom.
and there seems to be a little more discussion as to
Paul McBeth must have rolled. You know, when you hit that side of the hill, any angle that's on it is going to make it stand up and roll. So if he stayed in bounds, it was very fortunate.
Paul's running at this.
All right, so we have had a 233-foot hole with no birdies from the first 3 attempts, and now we have Nikko who has a good look at this, but it's no gimme.
If Nikko does not put this putt in, I will call it out of bounds at that moment.
Nikko Locastro, I mean, what a great putter Nikko is. I mean, he's a great player all around, but I tell you what, between Paul and Nikko, they are 2 of the best putters we have on tour.
With his hyzer putt, as I was saying, if that did not go in, it was going all the way down the hill, but
That was nerves of steel right there. That was a great attempt. I mean, it can change the whole momentum. We've seen it happen with Nikko before. You know, it just takes a little bit of spark to set that dog on fire.
Clear me, John, when you're ready.
as these players are all clearing off, we'll move over to hole 15.
There we have Dion Arlen right there. So we had a Dion Arlen lookalike a while ago on 18. That was hole 15.
And I believe that's your friend, Steve Valencia.
It sure is. Steve, one of the best players of the past. I mean, he was an amazing character. I mean, throwing it right-handed and left-handed 500 feet, he was hard to deal with. Glad to see Steve back involved.
Looks like we have Adam Hunt that will be also just tapping out here.
Well, that's kind of a tap out. You could have passed out and made that one.
And it looks like we're going to soon have a special guest come to us, which is the PDGA Technical Director, Jeff Homburg. He is going to be joining us shortly.
Jeff, I believe, used to be called Hummer Thummer in his younger days. He had a great thummer shot, which is one of my favorite shots. Great looking drive there on hole 15. Wow, that is spectacular. What a great drive that is. That's what you're looking for on that hole. Here we have Mike Raley, Michigan native. I think Mike's actually a master age player, and I think he's playing in the Open Division this week. Another good looking shot, a little bit short there. That'll be a difficult look. You probably just have to slide that right up there and take his 3 and go on to the next hole. This looks to be Ray Johnson, Grass Valley native. Ray's got a cannon. I think he was heavily influenced by Jeff and Johnny Lissaman in his early days. 2 of our great players of the past. Uh-oh, no way. Oh,
and it continues
goodness.
Here.
Wow.
As Nate Doss went just in front of the pin and unfortunately carried out of bounds into the water.
You know, this shot requires a flat shot. You don't want all that skippy action going on when you've got a green that looks like it's been Simonized. Here we have Paul McBeth on the tee, our current leader. Great flat shot. That is a great shot.
Paul throwing a putter on this hole, as I believe most of the players are, as we have one right next to the basket. Nate's looked to be a putter, but as you said, just had a little too much angle on it. Next will be Barry Schultz, also throwing a putter. Flat and wide. Maybe a little too wide, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're throwing a mid-range on this, as long as you're throwing it flat with low arm speed and not a lot of spin, that's fine. But any kind of angle you have on this bald green has a chance to get in the water. And I mean, that hole is, what is that hole? 210 feet? Are you kidding me?
The single shortest hole on this Fountain Hills layout that these competitors play during this Memorial experience.
Well, the tension is up, and these guys are snake bit feeling right now. So, I mean, when you have that feeling, it's really hard to execute like you normally do. I think Nikko Locastro was pretty close to the basket. He had to be first teeing off since he had the birdie on the hole before. And we already saw when Nate skipped in that there was a disc pretty close. So there he is. Nikko's parked. You don't want to get Nikko feeling comfortable. I'm telling you, that dog can just hunt. Barry Schultz, tough putt right here. It's not that far away, but the water is lurking, and they have seen it all today so far. Barry's going to have to really focus through this one. Nice putt by Barry Schultz.
That may be a game changer for Mr. Schultz, as he has absolutely nailed that putt.
Great
He'll have
shot.
some momentum carrying him into the next hole. He threw a less than perfect drive, but still carded the birdie, and Nate Doss here will be looking just to save par after throwing out of bounds on his drive. He will bring it in roughly 1 meter, up to 1 meter from that out of bounds line.
I'm sure about now Nate's feeling like a Hasbro toy. You know, I think, didn't they make the yo-yo? Whoa.
It has been roller coaster for him.
Nate Doss, great save there. I mean, there's definitely worse shots than a 3, and we've seen a bunch of them so far. You know, we've played 7 holes, and we've already seen more OB than I thought we would see the entire round, Terry.
And we're watching Paul McBeth. Those chains seem to get somewhat tangled on Nate's putt, so Paul can adjust those and make those hang correctly.
If I was a betting man, I'd be betting the house on this putt.
And you would be a winner, Dave.
Shoo! Daggone, I'd like to have bet my house. 2 houses are way better than 1. Nikko with a head knocker right there. Nikko finally, a little smile from Nikko. He's starting to relax a little bit.
And with a special guest, Jeff Homburg, who is the Director of Technical Standards, approving all of our discs that we're throwing through the Professional Disc Golf Association, we have Rebecca Duffy in the field with Jeff Homburg.
Thanks. I am with Dr. Jeff Homburg, the PDGA Technical Standards Chair. And not only do you approve all the disc and the targets for PDGA, but you have quite the impressive resume. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm an archaeologist and I'm an archaeology professor at the University of Arizona. I work internationally, most recently in Mongolia, Senegal, Tanzania, and I'm trying to spread the game of disc golf worldwide, and I've been playing true safari golf out in the bush of Africa most recently. I'm PDGA 1025. I've been the Technical Standards Chair since 1989, and I've approved somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 discs and several dozen targets since that time. We just crossed a milestone. We passed 500 approved PDGA approved discs, and other members of our committee include Dan Roddick, or otherwise known as Stork, Chuck Kennedy, and those two plus me are the main members of the committee. And there's other people as well, including Conrad Damon, Jim Garnett, and Scott Kickbush. And together, we're the ones that come up with the policies for technical standards. Of course, they have to be approved by the PDGA Board of Directors, but we've devised a lot of the standards and the changes over the years, the last 20 plus years.
Well, I am very impressed with your resume, and I personally want to thank you for introducing disc golf to Africa and Mongolia. That's just great, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to give us a little chat here and there. And I wish you good luck in your endeavors, and thank you for everything you do for PDGA.
Well, thank you, Rebecca.
Back to you, Crazy.
Over. And Paul McBeth on the tee for us, as we just saw Nikko Locastro throw. Paul looking for that safe sign. And next up is Barry Schultz. Most would consider this hole a bonus if they were to get a birdie 2 on it. And Barry going with a low line drive, just looking to card a 3 here. And he has thrown a perfect shot. He's happy with it as he gives himself a small golf clap. And it looks as if Nate Doss may be thinking to change up a normal game plan. We'll see if he's looking to go big and possibly over and take an Anheuser, or if he's just going through the trees. And Nate has ripped a laser straight through the gap, as all these players were looking to do. We have some crowd control, and we're back here at the Disc Golf Center Lakeside Studios. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing great, Terry. Thank you. The disc golf guy, of course, one of our field reporters out here at the Memorial, joined by Rebecca Duffy, if you just saw recently with the Jeff Homburg interview. We have our Disc Golf Planet team here in full force at the Fountain Hills layout. This is Championship Saturday. Terry, it was exciting watching some of the early mistakes coming from our top professionals. Those of you at home watching the action, I'm sure are curious to see the end of the women's championship at number 18. Don't forget, just a brief interruption and signal there by a solar flare, but not to worry because all of that is archived in the Disc Golf Planet server, so not to worry. Those of you that do donate have access to all this footage in the future, so not to worry. You can revisit your memorial anytime, day or night. We want to thank you for becoming supporters of the broadcast. Those of you can log on to discgolfplanet.tv, become a supporter, as well as make yourself eligible for the thousands of dollars in prizes that we have from our generous sponsors, one of which is World Sports, makers of the Scepter Disc Retriever and Next Tee Indicator, helping the game of disc golf grow itself on any course in any country. Thanks to World Sports. That's WHIRLD, sports.com. And by Dynamic Discs, providing us with our Winner's Circle interview platform. You'll speak to our champions directly from the platform, thanks to those folks at Dynamic Discs, set up at tee number 1 And we go back to the action. Here's Barry Schultz.
In playing this hole crazy, most of these guys are just looking to card a par 3. This would be a bonus deuce if anyone were to get it, and Nate will be throwing next, just looking for a simple approach shot down near the basket without it carrying too far to the water's edge, and it looks like he has done just that.
Those of you at home watching these techniques, you know, a tricky upshot might be found quite frequently during a round, but one thing to remember is the disc doesn't have to travel the entire distance. You want to get close enough to have a striking distance at your putt, and that's it. As we take a glance at the Disc Nation leaderboard in our open division, it's PoY McBeth at 30 under with a 2-stroke lead over Schultz. We see Locastro staying steady in the hunt at 27 down, tied with Ulibarri and Anthon, and not far behind Nate Doss after a horrific hole number 1 has gained somewhat of his composure back as he's tied with Ken Climo, the holder of the low round here at Fountain Hills with a 44 on Thursday. We join the action on number 8 at the water's edge. Here's Nikko Locastro figuring out his situation. Nikko coming here with quite a contingency of support, having just made that incredible hole-in-one on the final hole to force sudden death here at the Fountain Hills Thrills, and coming out victorious over local Paul Ulibarri. Nikko.
Seems as if there is... Nikko has canned a huge putt and runs up to the basket. He is pumped up after that shot.
Classic Locastro form. McBeth addressing his out-of-bounds mark. Some of our local residents with a bird's eye view from behind the green, and our leader McBeth.
Oh, and just hitting everything but the bottom of the basket is PoY McBeth, who is going to card a bogey on this hole. His putt was just a bit low and unfortunately does not stay in the basket. And Mr. Schultz is up next to try and save his par. And just creeping over the edge of the basket in this case was Barry's putt. He will take a 3. Nate with his close approach will tap in and move on.
Here's the action on 15.
I believe this is Tim Skellinger throwing on hole 15.
Do a catch. Just get up on that cart pad.
And just as we saw a few cards ago, an exact same shot coming up short of the basket, but getting a positive roll and carrying the rest of the way to give him an easy birdie attempt.
That's the ideal point of attack on 15. Its distance is great, but once again, you don't have to fly the entire distance. You're looking at our graphic for hole number 9, where our pros are right now, just wrapping up.
Many players would say that this is one of the toughest holes on the course, on hole 9 with the double peninsula. Many of these greens are incredibly fast. We have seen some of the skips and shots come off of them and land in the water, even on the slowest of throws, as Nikko prepares here on hole 9.
This is an elevated tee, ladies and gentlemen. There's a tree directly in front of the tee. Players of some sorts will throw through the trunks of the tree, others taking a wider route to the right incurring the T sign or the low and direct approach under the left edge of the furthest left trunk of the tree. Very exciting energy here as Nikko Locastro steps on to number 9 tee.
That was certainly more of a layup approach to this hole. He was not being aggressive whatsoever and wanting to land on the shorter side and then attacking the green on his second shot.
Curious to see if that stayed in bounds, Terry. Went right directly towards the water. Schultz lining up. We'll actually have a birdie attempt. That distance was ideal. You have to take these 2 trees above the basket out of play by coming to rest just on the back side of that berm. Here's Nathan Doss trying to patch up his championship round.
And that was one of the better shots that I feel you will see here on hole 9. Very aggressive with the driver, trying to bite off as much as he can to leave him just a short distance to the pin, and Paul McBeth will tee last after carding a bogey on the previous hole. Paul has a driver in hand. So crazy, I would have to say that was a very interesting set of throws as we saw the leader only Nikko lay up. We're going to move over to Philo here on hole 15. We'll get and grabbing all of the chain. Philo is happy to see that go in. It's a fist bump from some of his card mates. Happy to card a birdie too, and that is a park job if we've ever seen one on hole 15. Tim is very happy about that. Other card mates cleaning up. It looks like we have Carlo Pelg.
Well, players from 33 states and 6 nations enjoying themselves in the sunny conditions here in Arizona. Locastro well short of the OB, lining up for his second shot here on number 9.
And Nikko has executed that shot perfectly. He had a game plan coming into this hole, and he is going to have a tap in for 3. For all of those at home watching this, that is how you do it out here on hole 9 at the very precarious Fountain Hills course. We see our Disc Nation leaderboard once again. Paul McBeth holding onto a 1-stroke lead, and we see Josh Anthon coming off that second card and doing what he does, which is making a charge with a phenomenal round, and Nikko following just behind them. Crazy, this could not get any more exciting as we set the stage here at the Fountain Hills course in Arizona.
It's awesome, Terry. We go back to number 9 with McBeth's second attempt. Players showing a great control of distance judgment and perception. Once again, as Terry mentioned, this particular green, as well as number 8, being left in somewhat of a bald condition due to the high traffic. Barry Schultz also lining up a simple approach shot. No need to reach for anything more than is what's evidently available here on these difficult peninsula-tipped basket placements.
And all 3 of these players have thrown putters as approach shots, nice and flat. They did not want it to get up on edge and roll out of bounds. And no one on this card, even the leader card, would be disappointed by carding a 3 on this hole 9.
Want to remind our viewers at home that DiscNation.com is providing a 15% discount for all orders placed through Monday at midnight Central Standard Time. Just log on and use the code word Memorial to achieve your 15% discount. Thank you. We're watching our lead group of men's professionals today going for $50,000. Finishing up on number 9.
Crazy. Some people have wondered, how can I go out and support the broadcast, and what can they get from doing that?
Well, as we mentioned, we have a number of sponsors that have helped us build prize banks for you, those at home, and we encourage you to log on and become a supporter. We're going to take a momentary break here for some commercial messages. Once again, coming to you live from the DiscGolfCenter.com Lakeside Studios. This is The Memorial, presented by Discraft. We'll be back after a moment after these messages.
We just watched you at the U.S. Open with a fantastic round, you and Will Schustreak. This course and that course, what are you going to do different on this course?
I'm just going to play my own game and, do the best I can, try to make the putts and play the course as safe as possible, throw a bunch of hyzers right next to the basket, and hopefully I won't have to putt that much. I'm just going to try my best. That's all I can do out here. There's a lot of good competition. I respect all my friends and competitors, and I understand that everybody's gunning for the first place in every tournament, and so am I. So it's just a competitive match out here. Everybody's going to do our best, and, may the best golfer win. It's just how it is.
Are you worried about the OB at all?
I wouldn't say that I'm worried, but I am going to be thinking about the OB while I'm on the tee pad. I'm going to try to play the safe side of the green and, always leave myself an opportunity. If I'm not there for the 2, make sure I'm there for the par.
Let's just say you're 2 strokes behind on the lead card, and you have to pick one disc out of your bag. What's going to be your go-to disc?
Go-to disc, I'm probably just going to trust my stable driver, or I'll lay up with a putter or mid-range. I'm fairly confident in all my discs right now. I like to make sure I know what my plastic's going to do. And I've been playing a lot of solid golf lately, so I'm just going to go out there, stay competitive, and like I said, I'm just going to do my best and try to give all the putts a chance to go in, stay in bounds, and hopefully I'll throw enough good shots to make my way to the top. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Nikko.
Josh, you've got to be excited to get back to Fountain Hills. What have you been thinking about for the last year?
I was beating that record and winning the tournament, making up for last year.
Is it possible to shoot better than 41 on that course?
Yeah, almost did it today. I had 13 birdies and 3 bogeys.
How are you going to attack it differently if there's, let's say, wind or anything else out there?
Well, then all the course records are out of the window there. Just going for a good score and play it safe.
What keeps bringing you back to the Memorial year after year?
The payout.
You're all about the Benjamins, aren't you?
Yeah, always. No, they run their tournament well. They make it a real tournament. It ain't like some of the almost tournaments that we go to. It's a real full-fledged tournament with a lot of work put into it. Brings us all back.
Innova is the most popular and complete line of golf discs. From distance and fairway drivers to mid-range putt and approach discs, Innova provides the technology to improve your game. Our discs are responsible for more world records and more world champions than all other companies combined. Innova, the choice of world champions.
excitement at PDGA.com.
Hi, I'm John Dusler, executive producer of DiscGolfPlanet.tv. I want to thank you so much for watching our 2011 production of the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. This is truly a team effort, and I'd like you to meet some of our team right now.
I'm Terry Roddy, Field Technical Manager for Terra Firma Media Group, PDGA number 4380.
Kirk Montgomery, 6'4", 240, Kona, Hawaii.
My name is Brian Mace. I'm from Arlington, Texas. I'm the Disc Golf Planet TV stage manager.
Jason Sanfilippo, Hartford, Wisconsin, production assistant.
I'm Dane Miller from Germantown, Wisconsin. I'm a production assistant.
I'm Ian Goldstein, cameraman on hole 18.
John Van Derzen, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chief of Broadcast Graphics.
Patrick Brogdon, Houston, Texas, RF camera.
Chris Cobb, Phoenix, Arizona, RF pointer.
Lauren Lakeberg, Disc Golf Planet TV photographer.
Bobby Brown, video editor and Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
Here we are on T11 as we watch our pros tune in. Barry Schultz on the tee. It's a long, difficult hole with a constant slope right to left. There's out of bounds left. Barry Schultz skipping right on by the basket just outside the 10-meter circle. Nonetheless, he negotiated these conditions. It's sunny and breezy here as it's been all week. There's Nikko Locastro on the tee at 11.
And like Barry's shot, we see that he landed near the basket, and with that fast green, had skipped to about 30 or 35 feet away. Next up is Nate Doss.
Natron's gone through quite a few set of circumstances here today. Let's see how he's going to close out his round. Another great shot by Doss here on 11. Beautiful environment here. You see on the right of the screen our Memorial Experience set up in all its glory. The PDGA and K-Love, our local radio affiliates here, coordinated by Jeff Harris. As you see, Paul McBeth, our leader, on the tee at 11.
And Paul has thrown that too low, which is not going to carry to the basket. Nate seemed to have taken a tip from the two people teeing off prior to him and hung it a little wider to the right. And Nate's going to be looking at a birdie opportunity relatively easily. The other three gentlemen, not right there like they'd like to be.
That's right, Terry. Now, once again, let's go to our disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer Dave Greenwell with a special guest from our international contingency, Sylvia Gouge from France. David?
Thanks, Crazy. I'm here with Sylvain Gouge from Dijon, France, and this is Sylvain's first trip to the United States for any reason. Sylvain, we're so glad you're here. Tell me about your trip.
Oh, thank you, David. Hello, everybody. My trip was so amazing because my first time ever in America. So first week in Vegas, couldn't play because of an injury in my hand, but Vegas, it's so amazing. The strip and downtown was so cool. And second weeks in Arizona was so awesome. And I tried to play, and I played not too bad, so I'm really enjoy. And yes, it was a really amazing trip.
Now, you were still able to play here a little bit as well.
Oh yeah, I tried to play good 2 rounds, and the third round was difficult, and today was okay. 1 under was so good.
Well, we thank you so much for being here. Have a lot of fun the rest of your trip. This is Sylvain Gouge, the best player from France. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to thank Discraft to make the best disc, and Brian especially, and my club Discopath from Dijon, Hall 19, and my buddy Tony Ferro. Without him, I couldn't come here. So thank you, Tony.
Thanks. Back to you, Craze.
Thanks, David, and thanks to Sylvain. Merci to C'est Bon, all right here at the Fountain Hills course. Another member of our international contingency. And of course, you're looking at the 11 green. This is just over the shoulder of 3-time Memorial champion Barry Schultz, sizing it up. Oh, it tried to sneak it in left, and watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Just having to push the putt to the left half of the chains, Terry, just to navigate around that tree was all it took to push that disc outside of the perimeter of the basket. Unfortunate, but that is another element of disc golf. It's not in till it's in. Barry's probably taking an extra moment here. If you notice, Barry Schultz's his checklist is quite thorough, Terry. This is a true sign of a well-experienced, well-seasoned professional. Here's Schultz for par. And no problem for Schultz, hanging on to that firm grasp of third place at the time. Here's Nikko Locastro, still on a tear, a little bit disappointed 2 holes ago, but nonetheless, he's got a strategy in mind. Here's Locastro inside the circle on 11. He's found a groove, folks.
Nikko's deuce putt is good as he runs up to the basket to retrieve his putter. And last but not least, we have Nate Doss, who threw the best drive of the foursome. And Nate has capitalized on his great drive to card a birdie 2 as we are hearing the hum of that fountain, which is great for all these players to see, but adds another element of challenge to here at this Fountain Hills course.
That's right, here she comes again. You're looking at a wonderful vantage point here from the deep part of the green on number 15. And our players will be here soon. Don't forget, we've got exciting interviews coming up for you from the Dynamic Discs Winners Circle interview platform. We appreciate your joining us for this live broadcast. This is the third day of our coverage of the Memorial here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, presented by Discraft. I want to give a shout out to our founding partners of the Disc Golf Planet family, the PDGA, Professional Disc Golf Association in Appling, Georgia, home of the International Disc Golf Center. Thank you for your support in this live broadcast. As you see the fountain in all of its glory here at the tee on 12. The downhill 280 feet doesn't seem much to some, but placement is key here, Terry. The basket is located on the third tee down from this very perched, this tee perched on top right next to El Lago Boulevard. Excuse me, Saguaro Boulevard.
And hanging it out just a tad to the right is Nikko Locastro's mid-range. This has to rank up there as one of the easiest holes that these competitors will face out at the Fountain Hills course. It is one of the few holes out here that you really need a horrible drive to find the water on, and I would expect none of these top pros to be anywhere near the water. As Nate Doss tees.
It might be easy in distance, but placement is key here. Once again, we mentioned the basket is on an elevated platform, which adds another element, but located on this bottom tier of the three. Players will generally end up with a downhill putt, but with the additional elevation, just another twist to take into consideration. These pros going for $50,000. There's a quick glimpse of Avery Jenkins, the 2009 world champ. Here's our memorial leader, Paul McBeth, on the tee at 12.
And
up on the top of that cleft.
Similar to Nikko's shot, it looks like he hung it out to the right, and unfortunately it did not fade left enough for him. He will still have a look at a birdie attempt. Last to tee is Barry Schultz. And throwing a mid-range that hit just below the basket, skipping a few feet beyond, is Barry Schultz.
The beautiful conditions here. Back to Greg Barsby on 15 with a difficult birdie putt. But it's, and it pops out just a little low, much to his dismay. Going to shake that one off. Great hole number 1. Great shot for Barsby, if you remember. A park job for birdie.
This looks to be Ricky Wysocki going for his putt inside the circle and off the front, and he, with a bit of frustration, his putt does not go in. And
that could have gone a lot farther away from the bucket than it did, Terry.
And our left-handed Devin Owens is up to putt next. It looks as if he has a few trees to navigate around. Beautiful putt by Devin. He is pumped up. That is a birdie. He has just carded.
And Wysocki tap in. There's Jenkins.
Jenkins appears to be somewhat frustrated. We think we saw him take a moment before. There must have been some distraction. Maybe it was a gallery member or something behind him, and unfortunately it doesn't look like he had carded a par there. It looks as if that might have been a 4. That is one element out here that we've been discussing, is there are a lot of fans and spectators, not just our amateur players, but other people that are out here at this beautiful Fountain Hills course taking in the action, and they may present a different challenge to these players in terms of distractions.
The gallery can only be a plus here for the energy that is the Fountain Hills Gold Course, showing all of its best to our players today. This broadcast being brought to you also by Innova Champion Discs, located on the western and eastern coasts of the United States. Shout out to the folks at Innova for innovating the game. Innova Champion, producing champions for decades. And by the Philadelphia Insurance Companies, America's #1 underwriter for niche sports. Those of you at home that have a disc golf club, an event, or an association that requires a little more support and protection, allow the Philadelphia Insurance Companies to design a cost-effective solution for you. Thank you to the Philadelphia Insurance Companies. We join now the action back on number 15.
First to tee off, it looks like we have Patrick Blazik. Patrick with As I was about to say, Patrick with more than enough power to get to this basket. Looks like he has put it up there nearly pin high or just past the basket. And next to tee is the left-handed competitor, Richard Thompson.
We have some extended interest here in their group behind the tee. There's Paige Pierce, our recently crowned women's champion, Sarah Holcomb in the background there, watching these gentlemen finish out this particular circular tour of the last 4 holes of the course. Once again reconfigured by Jeff Burns, the course pro here since 1980. Creating a even more difficult layout here for this championship Saturday. Here we go to 15.
And similar to Patrick, Richard has more than enough distance to get it up towards the pin.
You see that left to right breeze, though, taking that counterclockwise approach way to the right.
Next to tee is Jeff Bennett.
And we look down on the 13th tee, a difficult placement for this very short hole. It's at the top of the crest of the hill. There's a palm just behind the basket. A little bit of trouble deep for the long arms, but nonetheless, another twisty orientation for a short hole just to add some difficulty. Here's Locastro. Nate Doss with a chance to regain one of those strokes given away on number 1 after an 8, a rare snowman in a top card of a professional NT. And Nate Doss has stuck it out wide to the right again. Not as close as he can get it, that's for sure. But to take a moment out, we've got another prize to give away, a Dynamic Discs package. The winner is Terry?
Marie Gill. Thank you, Marie Gill, as you have won a Dynamic Disc prize package. Thank you for supporting our broadcast.
Our leader, Paul McBeth, on the drive up nice and close to number 13. He'll have the wind at his back. And a look at another birdie to potentially extend his lead. Barry Schultz now dialed in on the tee here live on 13.
And with a positive roll after it is hit, Barry Schultz is going to be looking at a birdie attempt on hole 13, which does measure in at 255 feet, being the 3rd shortest hole on the course and arguably one of the easiest birdie attempts for these competitors.
That's right. We're watching our open leader card make their way up to the green on 13. Here's a quick look at the Disc Nation scoreboard. Our leaders in the open division, Josh Anthon and Paul McBeth, tied at 31. That's a great move on Anthon's part. He's on a tear here on Championship Saturday. Schultz, Ulibarri, and Locastro stuck at a jamming 29 under. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, you're watching this live. This is one of your last chances to log on to become the winner of that Discraft Chain Star. That's the Discraft target for your very own. Just log on, click to the right of your viewing screen on Win the Chain Star, and you become eligible for not only the Discraft Chain Star, but a plethora of prizes provided by our generous sponsors.
Richard Thompson for his birdie attempt here on hole 15.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? A 45 just to come up in a very difficult green right between the trees. Here, Doss was left on the uphill slope. I would consider this a downhill putt to the elevated basket. Those of you at home will...
Doss capitalizes from just inside the circle. The gallery applauding his efforts here and carding his birdie too, as the rest of the competitors are looking to get birdies here on this very easy hole 13.
Just a great example of how to make a simple barren area that you call your green a little more interesting and tough to navigate by pulling it close to the palms. A little trouble on the surface just behind Locastro. Here's his birdie attempt. And that's called a groove, Terry. As we watch Locastro distance himself from the balance of that card, as Paul McBeth has got a little bit of added pressure here just to maintain his tie with Anthon. Remember, he's sharing the card with 3 other gentlemen. Anthon is in the second card, so McBeth is potentially unaware of Anthon's move. And McBeth sticks it in, a little tight corner on the right side. He's glad that one didn't hit the grass again. Paul McBeth with another great designed shot and birdie putt. Here's Barry Schultz even closer. And making quick work of that for his birdie.
As we just saw, all 4 of these competitors carding 2s, and as you mentioned just a moment ago, Anthon is on the second card, so he has potentially played 1 or 2 additional holes that Paul McBeth has not yet played, carding a few extra birdies.
You're watching the Germ line up from the water's edge here on 18, the final hole, and a difficult one at that. Oh, and he comes up short. And the door's closed on that side of the basket. Here's Josh Anthon on 15 with a big backhand on this 432-foot difficult par 3. Not an aggressive drive as we've seen before, but nonetheless, I guarantee you he'll be running that putt with the trees behind him.
Josh, being one of the best putters in the world, has no hesitation. Next up is Paul.
This is that classic 2-hand take back for Ulibarri. And wide to the right again. Falling victim to that left to right breeze, but it kicks and rolls up even closer. It's a lot more difficult than you see, ladies and gentlemen, because of the placement of these trees. Or I should say because of the placement of the basket, unless the basket was there before the trees.
Either way, I would not mind being where Paul is right now. He has thrown
doubt.
a beautiful shot, and next to tee from the road's edge is Nikko Locastro.
This downhill orientation. That's a great kick, Terry. He's within 25 feet of that nested basket. Remember, the OB is just 8 feet to the left. Nathan Doss contemplating his choice. Team Discraft proud to have Nathan for a number of years now, 2-time Open champion and winning the Junior Championship of the world by 25 strokes. Here's Doss. Tricky, number 14.
And
how about that, ladies and gentlemen? 3-time world champion puts it on top of the next tee under the basket. It's giving McBeth some food for thought. The players will stay wide to the right. great placement. If you notice the slope, these discs are landing on the down slope, and they've anticipated the skip edge and everything, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best in the game here. This is the leader card for our men's open professionals, competing for $50,000 in prize money today. And you're watching the action live through the portal of discgolfplanet.tv. We thank you for joining our broadcast and becoming a supporter. Don't forget, you're eligible for prizes as soon as you donate, including that Discraft Chain Star to be given away later in the broadcast. We're live on the tee at 14. Barry Schultz. And Terry, way safe for Schultz.
Yeah, he had hung it out further to the right than the other three card members, and it looks like he just may be laying up from that spot. As we take a look at the Disc Nation leaderboard, Paul McBeth on top by 1 stroke over Josh Anthon, with Schultz and Locastro just trailing him by 1.
We watch Ken Klimos climb towards the top here. Once again, he shot that blazing 44. Oh, it's another long one here. Got to be happy with that. Eric McCabe suffering a bit of a calf injury, a cramping. Of course, he's been under the training instructions of Regina Tula from 88 Fitness. Much to his success. Here's Josh Anthon, still on a climb. And just underneath.
And a rare miss by Josh Anthon, affectionately known as Mr. Fountain Hills. He has destroyed this course last year, and he's looking to get some of that back this year if he's going to continue to challenge McBeth for that lead.
Here's the champ on an uneven straddle putt on number 15 from 22 for birdie. Just over the edge.
I'm not sure Ken Klimo thought he got that up and over the edge enough, as he somewhat hesitated. And needless to say, he has put it in, and Paul is looking at a birdie opportunity, as easy as it gets here on hole 15. And as we've stated before, we're going to watch Josh Anthon take his putt before we have our next giveaway. And Josh has no problems. And we'd like to say Bryce Hine is the winner of a DiscNation.com $25 gift certificate, as Barry just misses his putt. Again, Bryce Hine, a winner of a $25 DiscNation.com gift certificate. Thank you to Disc Nation for supporting the broadcast and the Disc Golf Guy video blogs, as we'll watch Paul McBeth line up his straddle putt.
Notice the angle of that tree blocking the right half of the basket, which is the sweet spot for a right-hander. Barry Schultz with no chance of making his putt.
Oh, and McBeth is slightly high and left of that, as the gallery stood statuesque, watching with anticipation, and Nikko is left to try his birdie attempt, again with a straddle putt. Those three trees have protected everyone on these putts.
Another great issue of the design here at Fountain Hills. Locastro keeps the birdie in his possession. Here on the difficult number 14, OB just 12 feet behind the basket. Barry Schultz, of course, appearing to lay up, but no, I believe that was a unsuccessful putt, Terry. There's the tap in. McBeth will tap in for 3. And Doss with an amazing second shot coming from underneath the basket after a fantastic drive, much to the liking of our gallery. And you're watching this action live from the DiscGolfCenter.com Lakeside Studios here in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third and final day coverage of the Memorial Championships, brought to you by Discraft. I'm joined by the disc golf guy, Terry Miller, here in our luxurious studios, and we hope you're enjoying the action. Don't forget, it's your chance to log on. We have a number of prizes still to give away, including the Chain Star Discraft pole hole basket. Could be your very own, sitting in the backyard after you become the winner. Just click on to discgolfplanet.tv. Look to the right, click on the Win the Chain Star banner, and you too could become eligible for the thousands of dollars in prizes. It's a wonderful opportunity to show the world the sport of disc golf, especially from this luxurious stage in the game, the beautiful Fountain Hills Gold Course. A shout out now to our leaders on the Disc Nation leaderboard. Once again, by one stroke, it's Paul McBeth out in front of Josh Anthon and Nikko Locastro. After that birdie on 14, now a two-way tie for second, and then at a three-way tie for a fourth, it's Schultz, Ulibarri, and Climo, followed by Nate Doss. After a tough start, though, it has regained some of that giving up strokes early and tied with current PDGA World Champion Eric McCabe. That's the top 8 positions on our 2 leader cards, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, coming to you live through the portal of discgolfplanet.tv. Thanks to our sponsors, the PDGA, Innova Champion Discs, and the Philadelphia Insurance Companies. Here's Locastro's drive on number 15.
Nikko, with more than enough power to get it to the pin, has certainly thrown it pin high. It looks like he will have about 40 feet remaining for his birdie attempt as Nate Doss checks the wind by kicking up some grass and dirt.
I think the audience is in clear view of another beneficial element to the Fountain Hills course, which are the circular tees, giving no bias to left-handed or right-handed approaches. Here's Doss.
And getting just inside of Nikko's drive, we have Nate Doss throwing this 426-foot hole. I know they make it look easy crazy. We'll see if these guys are going to be able to capitalize on those great drives and get some birdies. As we take a look at the gallery that is growing every minute out here, looks as if we have Greg Barsby and Avery Jenkins on hole 17.
Be exciting to see what Jenkins does with this downhill monster, number 17. Looked as if that right leg came up a little early. That's going to finish left in that case. Wysocki now on the tee. And back to the action. Here's leader McBeth, co-leader McBeth on 15. Necessary to redesign his strategy. Here's Barry Schultz. And a little bit of balata is going to carry it up just a couple feet closer, but nonetheless, no easy putt for birdie on this hole 15. We have a luxury today of a large gallery provided somewhat by our amateur field. As we take a glance at these wonderful settings here in the upper East Valley of Phoenix, Arizona. It's Christmas in March today for some of our players, as we're giving away over $50,000 in prize money to our professional winners. And those finishing high in the field, we take a look at the Disc Nation leaderboard. Paul McBeth still out front by 1. Josh Anthon falling 1 back, tied with Nikko Locastro. And then don't forget about the two-way tie as Ken Climo moves into the top 4, tied for 4th with Paul Ulibarri. Local sensation. Barry Schultz still in the hunt. Got a number of champions here. And once again, as we reintroduce my co-host, Dave Greenwell, our disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer. Dave, the pressure starts to mount as we get to these last 2 or 3 holes for these top 2 cards. I wonder what's going through Locastro's mind. He thinks he might have a secret edge.
Wow, Crazy. I tell you what, this is about as crowded a leaderboard as I have ever seen, especially at such an early major. I mean, this is spectacular. I don't know how you could ask for anything more than this. You got the best players on a great course, perfect weather, and boy, oh boy, I am just fired up for these last 3 holes.
So exciting to see these players game surface after a long off-season for some or a short break for others. The winter's always considered an off-season for disc golf, but some of these folks, as we mentioned, Locastro coming here just 5 weeks prior for the Fountain Hills Thrills just to get reacquainted with this course that he's grown to love and at some point just slaughter. So Locastro on a tear. Anthon also threatening, just one stroke back. And don't forget about our ladies. Just earlier today, we had Paige Pierce secure her first major victory of the season, the 2011 women's title in the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. Take a moment to say hi to the PDGA, of course, the site of the International Disc Golf Center. The Professional Disc Golf Association is our crowning core. That's where you receive your PDGA number. It's yours for life. We're back to the action on 15.
Nikko Locastro.
And he's halfway there before it stops moving. Locastro, as we said, on a tear.
Wow, what a great shot by Nikko Locastro. And I mean, you would expect nothing but. Nikko is just one of those guys that sees the ring and is going for it. Here we are with Nate Doss.
There's a good vantage point between these two trees.
Nice try there for Nate.
Unfortunately, falling victim to that tricky pin placement, as most have this week. Three-time Memorial champ lining up on 15. And not quite within the perimeter of the basket there. That was, granted, that was a wide putt, Barry.
Just a little short right there on Barry's.
Now let's take a guess at this distance, Dave.
I'd say about 7 feet, Craze.
McBeth just riding a silent but deadly tear here this week. Super boost of confidence right there. That birdie's going to carry him with 2 strokes on Anthon into the 16th hole. Another deluxe lawn dart approaching this leader group.
That's about as excited as you'll see Paul McBeth get. He's pretty calm and collected for the most part, but he's nearing the end. He's seeing the prize, and I think he's going to give it a good shot right here.
You know, as we mentioned, as we saw in the interview with Terry Miller earlier, he seems to already understand his fate this season. He's practicing hard. He's taken a couple discs out of his bag. And, of course, being a member of Team Discraft, I'm sure he's honing in on the title. We have exciting World Championships coming to you this year from Santa Cruz, California. Tom Schott and the locals there providing a great theater for disc golf as well once we reach the month of August. And you can stay tuned to discgolfplanet.tv for coverage also. We hope you can join us at a number of events this year. We ask you now to join us at discgolfplanet.tv and log on. Become a supporter of the event and, once again, becoming eligible for that Discraft Chain Star basket to be given away. Take a glance at the leaderboard, David.
Wow. I mean, how many times have you seen with only 3 holes left to play, you have 5 players within 1 shot of the lead? I mean, this is spectacular.
Paul McBeth wanting to hold on to everything he can right now. Nikko Locastro ready to let one rip on the short lawn dart, number 16. There's the mandatory, Dave, don't forget.
How could I, Craze? Oh, Nikko with a horrible bounce. He was just a little too jacked up after making that last monster putt and has left himself with a very difficult birdie putt.
Due to that angle of landing with that much hyzer on it, the spin was maintained. The clockwise spin, it actually scooted rather than skipped.
Paul McBeth on the tee, ready to seize the moment.
Oh, he's finished left, David.
Just a little bit deep as well. Nate Doss.
Team Discraft awfully proud of this young man.
Nate Doss with a little bit wider look here. I don't know if he has enough time to... There it comes. Nice little roll there for Nate Doss. I'm sure he needed that.
Yeah, he'll have that 20-footer left for birdie. Schultz watching a lot of activity go on around him. He stays in his secret world sometimes. Who knows what's playing? I don't know if it's a self-help tape or Iron Maiden. Here's Schultz on 16.
This is definitely not his first rodeo.
And you see that effect we spoke of.
What a great shot there by Barry Schultz, and I'm sure right now, even though he's parked under this, and he is a pro, he's still thinking about that last putt that almost went in on that last hole that could have made all the difference in the world.
Certainly left a little bit of a cushion there behind.
Great drive from Barry right there, though. I mean, he is a consummate pro.
We're enjoying action here from beautiful, sunny and breezy Fountain Hills, Arizona. This is the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. I'm Crazy John Brooks, joined by co-host Dave Greenwell, our disc golf analyst, enjoying bringing you this broadcast around the world of the first NT event of the year on the PDGA Tour. I'd like to give a shout out once again to the Philadelphia Insurance Companies, America's #1 niche sports underwriter, and Innova Champion Discs. Straddling the coast of the United States, bringing to you the best that disc golf has to offer. Innova Champion, constructing champions for decades.
Here you see Avery Jenkins and Devin Owens and Ricky Wysocki walking down the last fairway here. I'm sure Ricky is pretty proud to be playing with his idol, same hometown. I'm sure they would have rather been in that lead group, but they played good nonetheless.
18 has taken some victims this week.
You know, Nikko Locastro reminds me of an old friend of mine named Bob Vanderboss.
Oh, yeah.
Who, if Bob could see the basket, he thought he could putt at it. And Nikko is the exact same way. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but anytime you can see the basket, or Nikko can, he thinks he's going to make it. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him make this one.
Locastro looking for 48.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
my goodness.
Great effort, but as they say, never up, never in.
Here's another one of the best putters on tour, Paul McBeth.
Now he's going to have to bottle up some of that concentration right here, Dave. You can consider this his final streak towards the finish line. He and Anthon tied. Oh, just over the edge.
Holy cow, what a huge putt that was.
Paul McBeth showing his best on Championship Saturday.
You know, that could just be the difference in this whole event right there. What a great putt from young teen star Paul McBeth.
We give a shout out to our audience at home and around the world. This is your last chance to log on and become eligible to win that Discraft Chain Star disc pole hole. Here we go back to Nate Doss on number 16. Number 16, pardon. And it's in for birdie. Doss is welcoming that two-shot hole. It's a bit unfamiliar to him of today's round. He's gone through some troubles, but nonetheless holding on to every chance he can. Here's Schultz.
Barry Schultz with just a park job.
Impressive tee shot.
What a gallant effort there from Nikko. I'm sure he can't believe that he threw 50 feet past a 371-foot Blade Heiser hole.
Locastro, a bit of a, what we would call a more of an emotional-based player. Some players play with a physical assertion. Other players involved a little more of the mind, and mental strategy is key. Many of our players here traveling around the globe. Of course, the Jenkins and Felberg clan just returning from Taiwan with the victorious. And of course, a lot of our contingency coming from the Gentleman's Classic just last weekend in Las Vegas. Don't forget about the weather here, folks. It's beautiful. It's sunny Arizona in March. Those of you at home underneath a few feet of snow can really enjoy the footage you're seeing. This, of course, is the Memorial Championships here at our discgolfcenter.com Lakeside Studios. I'm Crazy John, your host, joined by co-host Dave Greenwell. And Dave, once we a moment ago, we mentioned our last chance for viewers to log on and make a donation so that they can become available to win that brand new Discraft Chain Star basket. We go to UC Maresma on the tee of 18.
Nice safe shot there for UC. You know, you were talking about Nikko with the mental aspect, and some people are more emotional. With Nikko, he's all in. Every tournament, every shot, Nikko is all in. He's in it to win it. Here you have Richard Brown. No, Richard. I'm sorry.
Check your transmitter battery.
Rich Thompson.
Another sidearm.
Jeff Bennett.
Quite a talent to have this throw into control to blast it 400 feet.
You know, I think Jeff Bennett started throwing sidearm before he threw backhand, Grace.
It's a must-have in every disc golf bag. And there's that signature S turn to the sidearm. Of course, not traveling as fast as a backhand does in most cases, but nonetheless, the best choice of shots for this conditions and hole layout.
Here you have Patrick Blazik, Colorado resident.
And this has got to keep turning, Dave.
I think it's coming back right at the hole, right there.
Break.
Whoa, nice shot there by Patrick. Patrick's had a really good showing this week. He's one of the few players that are rated under 1,000 that have managed to stay near the top of the leaderboard. And Patrick was actually on the first card after the first day.
Watching an exciting sequence of events. Those of you at home, don't forget, we're coming up on the final 2 holes here of the Memorial Championships. The action is at its highest right now. Tell your folks in the other rooms at the house or in the office to come over and take a look. You're watching live coverage as Josh Anthon taking a long look. This is number 17. Difficult hole to birdie unless you've got an outstanding drive. You also have the guardian trees directly next to the basket.
Josh with a really tough look there. There really wasn't much of a way for him to make that. Maybe if he'd had like 17-foot long legs, he could have done a straddle putt, but that was tough. That tree had him hooked pretty bad. Here you see Eric McCabe, who, again, our hearts go out to he and his family for losing a grandfather recently. Eric got here just in time to play in the event. Current world champion. Nice putt there. Definitely one of the top 5 putters in the world.
Classic form from McCabe. That great show in Indiana last summer. Here's the champ keying in on a 12-footer.
You know, Crazy, none of us are probably going to see another guy like Ken Climo in our lifetime in this sport. He's done way more than anybody else, and wow, what a champ he's been.
There's Ulibarri for birdie on the difficult downhill 17, setting the stage for an exciting 18th hole, ladies and gentlemen. Grab up your folks in the house, get them over in front of the screen. We're about to crown our Open champion. And don't forget, over $50,000 awaiting in prize money for these top disc golfers from around the globe. 33 states and 6 nations joining us here to complete this full field. Actually, the event closing in December due to its outstanding response to the public. There's another finishing shot on 18.
Patrick Blazik. You know, I got to talk to Paul Ulibarri's dad yesterday, and he was just as proud of the young man that Paul has become as he was his golf game. Here you see Paul McBeth on the tee. Hole 17. Got a pretty tough skip there, but is definitely in his range.
This gallery getting a great view from down there behind the basket.
Each throw is just huge at this point.
Over a football field and a half to some of our conventional sports followers. 468 feet separate Nathan Doss and the basket on 17.
Former world champion, Nate Doss. Got another look, not right. It's just outside the circle, I think.
I think Nate's ready to can a long one. He's tired of messing around. Looking back up at our gallery, the All-American Sports Grill is site of last night's music soiree. Here's Barry Schultz taking a long look at 17.
Current U.S. Masters champion, Barry Schultz. Oh, no. That was a very unfortunate break there. That was looking pretty good. It's too bad. Yeah, I mean, Barry is one of the most decorated players in our sport, and has really owned this tournament for the last 10 years.
Hailing out of Wisconsin.
Yes, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact.
Let's take a look at Nikko Locastro now on 17.
Nikko finally took a little cue, played it out wide. Little skip toward the basket.
And CTP out of the foursome, Dave.
You know, this hole is 468 feet long, Craze, and he just drove past it by about 40 feet.
It is an elevated tee, but ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the best in the game. Don't forget, coming up shortly, the drawing to produce our winner of the Discraft Chain Star Basket. Those of you that have become supporters of the broadcast, we want to thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts here at Disc Golf Planet. And we hope you're enjoying the show, coming to you live here from Fountain Hills, Arizona. Don't forget, this evening's Memorial Experience continues with an appearance by American Idol finalist Scott McIntyre, another star of the local area. Also, Brian Weaver and I Am We will be performing. This is all part of K-Love's Memorial Experience, coordinated by Jeff Harris and the Arizona Disc Golf Club, all in efforts of bringing more entertainment and disc golf to the public. So I'm joined by co-host Dave Greenwell. We've enjoyed being with you all week here. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the lifeblood of this broadcast. Once again, a shout out to our vending sponsors, worldsports.com, makers of the Scepter and the Next Tee indicator. And once again, the Dynamic Discs Winner's Circle interview platform. We'll be seeing our champions crowned and interviewed from there. Thanks for their support. And don't forget, Dave, DiscNation.com, providing that 15% discount through Monday midnight Central Standard Time. Don't forget to use the award code word MEMORIAL when you place your order. Don't forget, orders placed by 3 p.m. ship same day. Back to 17.
Barry Schultz. Nice little layup there. Not much he could do with that from that distance. Looks like either Nate or Nate. No, Nate or Nate will be up next.
Nate finishing a little shorter than he'd desired. Nonetheless, this is an open and available birdie putt. You can guarantee this is going to get a full run. McBeth and Locastro sharing some words in behind. The action's not over yet, folks. Gather close. We're about to crown our champion. Nathan Doss from 45. And short and left. It's great to see the gallery out here in full force, Dave. Some of our amateur field making back today to watch the pros in action, as well as our residents local in Fountain Hills, the park, a great destination for young and old. Here's Paul McBeth.
Big putt right here. This could pretty much seal the deal. Oh my goodness.
Right in the heart, ladies and gentlemen.
He
Paul
has
McBeth.
no blood in his veins at all. This kid is ice water.
Could be looking at our next Memorial champion right there. Great display of putting skills by Paul McBeth.
I'm sure glad I'm not playing open anymore. I would never win again.
Locastro's covered quite a bit of ground. Of course, with that comes a larger prize payout too.
Oh no. That is very uncharacteristic of Nikko. That is usually money for him. He's a great player, great putter. That's too bad.
Here's Barry Schultz.
Barry for a nice little tap in.
Easy par. Dave, I don't think Locastro made it through his full checklist. A little bit rushed. We're used to seeing that 20 to 25 second setup for Locastro and you know, that classic lineup.
I think once McBeth made his putt, Nikko pretty much knew that he wasn't going to win, and he just kind of lost a little bit of focus. You know, a lot of these guys are used to winning, and if they don't have a chance to win, it kind of throws them a little bit.
Kind of can throw the mind for a jar. Let's look at our DiscNation.com leaderboard. McBeth out by 3 over Anthon, suffering some difficulty on 18. There's Locastro, 3 back, tied with Climo and Ulibarri, local sensation. And of course, his younger brother Pete playing in the amateur division. Here's Barry Schultz at 31 under, followed by Nate Doss and Eric McCabe. This is our final day coverage of the Memorial. We wanted to thank all of you for logging on thus far. You've become eligible for prizes and, of course, the Discraft Chain Star giveaway coming up shortly. I'm joined by co-host, disc golf analyst and Hall of Famer Dave Greenwell. It's been a pleasure watching these players bring out their best all week.
It sure has, Crazy. I mean, especially for the first tournament of the year, it's hard to believe how good these guys are already. I mean, I know it's not like they forgot from last year, but most of them haven't had a chance to play as much as they'd like to, and the play has been stellar.
What an exciting sequence of events on the 18th hole as our ladies reach their final putts. Of course, Jenkins being overtaken by Paige Pierce due to possibly an errant approach shot. Nonetheless, Paige Pierce making her first strike at gold for this year's inaugural NT. Let's go back to the tee on 18, our final hole, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Paul McBeth. After the birdie on 17.
All he needs to do is put it in the fairway on this shot. There should be no trying to get close at all. Just throw it in the fairway. There you go. Low, flat. You saw him. He knew it was, wow.
How about
I can't
that,
believe
ladies and gentlemen?
He looked like he just barely threw that disc.
He sure
I mean,
did.
it looked like it was just a safe shot that ended up basically parking the hole.
Great balance.
There you have the winner.
Nathan Doss will certainly give this a run.
You know, we've got a big story here, though, for second place. We've got a four-way tie. So Nikko can take over second place all by himself on this hole with a birdie.
You're joining us live. Here's Doss on 18.
Good shot by Nate as well. That is another park job.
Great shot inside the 10-meter circle. Look at the enormous galleries surrounding the tee here. A great bit of energy for our players, bringing out their best. This is, of course, the final hole, unless we reach a tie. This is the infamous number 18. Here's Barry Schultz from Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
With a birdie here, Barry can jump into a five-way tie for second. So you know Barry's going for this one. Kind of overthrew it, though. He just overthrew it just a little bit. He knew he had to birdie to get into that tie, and just overthrew it a little bit. And now Nikko, with a birdie here, he takes sole possession of second place, which money-wise is a big difference between tied for second and second all by yourself.
That's right. He's miffed after that doink on 17, too. Like to go back just a few weeks ago when Nikko Locastro from this point aced the difficult number 18 to go into sudden life with Ulibarri for the Fountain Hills Thrills and emerging victorious. Here's Locastro's drive, approaching the OB. And kicks in safe, Dave.
Holy cow. That looked like a mid-range, and he just overdrove hole 18, which is 400 feet.
That's a great angle for the putt, too. Downhill, no chance of hitting and rolling. Locastro needing that putt to get into that log jam in second place.
No, he needs that to take second place by himself. He's in that log jam.
Thank you. Once again, things tightening up at the top as McBeth holds on to that two-stroke lead over Anthon and Ulibarri. And Nikko Locastro looking to strike into that logjam at second.
Yes.
Also tied with Climo. And just behind, Barry Schultz at 31, Nate Doss 29 under, and current world champ Eric McCabe finishing the field out at minus 27. The beautiful surroundings here, our players walking towards the enormous gallery awaiting them on our final green.
Yeah, I stand corrected on that. It looked like everyone was tied at 32 under. I didn't see the two 33s there, Craze. Good.
No worries. Very exciting chance for golfers to improve their concentration skills. Those of you rising to the top in your division, look for any chance to practice in front of a group of folks, whether you're in a tournament or not. Work on the nerves. When you drive for show, you're going to have to putt for dough. And in that case, we go to Barry Schultz, bearing down on second place. This is a go for it. Well, he gave it a chance.
You know, this is going to be Paul McBeth's by far his biggest win ever. You know, we thought we were going to lose Paul to a baseball scholarship, which I think he made a choice between disc golf and baseball, and you see where he's at and you see what he's about to do, and that's the reason why.
No doubt. There's Nate Doss sizing up his shot on 18 for 2. Nate Doss, of course, an accomplished basketball player in Northern California, coming out of Capitola and Santa Cruz. Traveling partner with Valerie Jenkins. We go live.
Nate Doss for birdie.
Oh, the crowd loves it.
After,
a way to capitalize.
After all the round that we've seen him go through, to make that putt, you just saw how happy he was. You know, I mean, the snowman is gone. It's already melted.
Consider
and
the contrast.
back in the lake. So
awesome.
What a great
way
shot
to stick
there
it out, Nate.
Okay, Nikko Locastro. Big putt right here to get him into the tie for second.
This is no drop-in, folks. This is 22 feet for birdie at the Memorial Championship.
This is money right here.
It's in.
Wow. Boy, these guys are good, Craze.
Busting a move, Dave.
These guys are good.
Congratulatory move from Barry Schultz there. There's a tap in for Barry. Paul McBeth now dressing up for his birdie attempt here.
Putting machine, what a great, you all just witnessed the birth of a star right here. Paul McBeth, winner of the 2011 Memorial Championship. Holy cow, what a great tournament he had.
And being congratulated. What a great effort. Paul McBeth absorbing support for a number of players. Dave Feldberg congratulating, and of course our Rebecca Duffy there nearby. We'll be having an interview shortly.
You know, I've seen him make so many shots and never seen a negative reaction from Paul McBeth.
As we see Paul finish up, let's go live to Rebecca Duffy down at the 18th green. Rebecca, let's hear it from the new champion.
Thanks. We are in the Dynamic Disc Winner Circle, and we are here with the 2011 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft, Paul McBeth. Paul, when I interviewed you earlier before your round, did you have any idea that you were going to be a Memorial Champion?
I mean, I had faith in it the whole time. You know, I started off bad, but just had to pick it up and stay with it the whole way.
Well, tell me what worked out there for you, the shots that you made that worked really well, and what didn't work for you today?
Putting mostly saved me today. Saved my round, saved my tournament, and got me the win.
Well, congratulations, and you know, we're excited. We're really excited to watch you for the rest of the tour, and congratulations on this win. It's exciting to watch you, and hopefully we'll be able to interview you on the next one.
All
right, thanks, Paul. Have a great.
Thanks, Rebecca, and congratulations again to Paul McBeth. It's been great watching this young man make his appearance here at the Memorial. It's done in great fashion here as Paul has beaten the field here, one of the strongest professional fields we've ever seen. Dave, exciting as our tournament comes to an end. You know, we watch the other stars gunning for Paul McBeth. It's usually the other way around. We've seen Paul so close at so many majors, and once again, he pops it out in front here at the Memorial. Congratulations.
You know, there's a lot of guys that can throw far in this sport these days, but none of them putt any better right now than Paul McBeth.
Well, I want to thank all of you for joining us. Stand by for shortly. We'll have some more information to you coming as we set up our interviews for you folks. Once again, if you have any suggestions or statements or information you'd like to share with Disc Golf Planet, send it to us now. It's if you want to gather in front of your screens, though. We're very excited to now give away the Discraft Chain Star. Thanks to you at home for donating, and you've also become eligible for this. If you will, please, let's do the imaginary drum roll. David, the winner of the Memorial Giveaway Discraft Chain Star Basket is
James Gilbert.
You have won your very own Discraft Chain Star Basket. Thanks to the folks at Discraft, sponsors of this year's Memorial. Once again, James Gilbert. Congratulations. We're just about to wrap things up, folks. We do want to bring in a couple of bits of information. Earlier in the day, we saw a brief interruption in the signal for those of you at home due to a solar flare. It's a minor occurrence, but it's somewhat indigenous to this broadcast situation. Don't worry, though, because all of the action is archived on the Disc Golf Planet site. So where you saw the coverage end, it simply can be picked up at that spot later when you log on to Disc Golf Planet. We appreciate you doing so and becoming the lifeblood of this broadcast. Once again, I'd like to thank the PDGA for their support featuring the International Disc Golf Center and Innova Champion Discs, located on the western and eastern coasts of the United States. Innova Champion, producing champions for decades. And finally, the Philadelphia Insurance Companies, America's #1 niche sports insurance underwriters. If your club or local affiliate or association or event needs special coverage, contact the Philadelphia Insurance Companies for a cost-effective solution to help you. This broadcast is coming to you live around the world. Once again, Dave Greenwell, we'd like to add up, sum up the week for yourself from your perspective, if you will.
You know, Craze, this is all that I'd hoped it would be and more. I mean, I don't think we've seen a blob at the top like that in a long time, and then Paul McBeth just kind of elevated above them all. So I think we've got some big things in store for us from him for the rest of this season. And speaking of the rest of this season, I believe we're going to be at the Collegiate National Championships about the end of the 3rd week in April.
That's right, mid-April.
And that's something that if y'all haven't seen it, that it's a new avenue for us in our sport. The Collegiate Championships is going to be a big thing.
It's going to involve a lot more players too, and that's what disc golf is all about, is bringing new players and faces and personalities into the game. From my chair, Dave, I'm going to tell you one thing has risen. This is more important to me to tell you folks at home, not from a flying disc viewpoint, but from my personal and my concern for the future of the game. What you're seeing right now is a pioneering effort in bringing the beauty and the excitement of the personalities and the proficiency levels of these amazing athletes as they play disc golf in front of you, live at home and around the world. We appreciate your joining the Disc Golf Planet family by donating at this event or a number of our future events coming up this year. And it's always a pleasure to see these galleries and numbers show up, both from the playing field as well as the public. Enjoy this dynamic game that is disc golf. And many of you supporters at home know about this excitement. We want to encourage you to practice because it makes perfect. Visit new courses. Encourage your parks department to enhance your course, but everything that you do is going to contribute to the positive future of disc game. I want to thank you, and once again, we'll take a brief break. We'll be back with our award ceremonies. On behalf of Dave Greenwell and the entire DiscGolfPlanet.tv crew, I'm Crazy John Brooks, thanking you for joining us today. Once again, we'll return with the award ceremony in just a few minutes. We thank you for joining us on this live broadcast of the 2011 Memorial Championship, presented by Discraft.
Thanks for watching.
Innova is the most popular and complete line of golf discs. From distance and fairway drivers to mid-range putt and approach discs, Innova provides the technology to improve your game. Our discs are responsible for more world records and more world champions than all other companies combined. Innova, the choice of world champions.